connected.
A live view of what's going on with you. Oh, hey. Emo. Let me refresh.
Alright, I'll go back to YouTube. Okay, but you should be live.
I think we are live now.
Yep.
Yeah, we good?
Sorry about that.
We're not lagging, are we? You lagging out? You good, John?
Sorry about that.
Oh, there he is.
Alright, we're good.
Alright, good.
I
I gotta shut you off. I can't. Bye, John. I'll just mute. Okay. Hi. We're back.
Dude, I swear to God. Alright, see if you can type in the chat, because I may have screwed up one more thing.
Okay.
There we go. No buffering so far. Background music a little loud.
That was me talking to. Oh wait, no, you have music.
I just turned it down. Tell them, let me know if anything. Alright.
Music good? Can you hear the music good? Is it bad? Loud? Too loud? I think we're good. Can you come with the feedback on buffer? Oh, that was you.
Yep, and then I need to add moderator. Sweet! Alright. I think not as loud as this keyboard.
Well.
Oh no! Oh god!
There goes my coffee! Son of a bitch!
We're off to a great start.
Help! You can tell? There's mocha everywhere.
It's alright, we can clean it later.
Shit. God.
Alright, I'll be right there, folks.
Day in the life.
Live is live. Alright, everybody says we're good on everything else.
I need to buy you a steam cleaner.
Andrew's wrecking everything.
Oh.
Well, I go ahead and get into frame here.
Brand new.
Don't worry about it, guys. We'll clean her up, and she'll be good to go.
Oh, I'm missing
Hey.
my coffee now.
How's it? Well, yeah, then there's that. How's everybody doing? We're off to a rough start.
Just joining.
So,
I'm just working under the table.
just real quick, and I'm going to dip out for like 30 seconds so I can tweet this out and post on Facebook and all that stuff. Technical difficulties because I tried buying a couple of new toys, a variety of different cables, and this thing from Elgato called the Stream Link Cam Link that was supposed to allow me to use my GoPro to either stream in 1080p, which would be better quality than this existing 1080p, or 4K. Nothing worked. When it came time to actually hit play, nothing was working, and it was buffering like crazy. None of my audio was balanced right, and it was just. I, no joke, spent 2 hours on it last night and like another 3 hours maybe on it today, trying to get this all sorted and balanced, and here we are. But it's okay. So, thank you all for watching. Greatly appreciate it. I'm going to dip out in 1 second, so again, I can post this to social media. I want to get as many people here as we can. And then we're going to talk all things ice out bass fishing. There's a ton of different baits that both Andrew and myself utilize when it comes to fishing, like immediately after ice out and for like right up into pre-spawn. There's just a bunch of baits that absolutely kill it in that window. So I want to discuss them in depth, what we recommend, why we recommend it, the success we've had in the past, because now is the time you guys really want to be setting aside, well, shopping time, really. I mean, we're not that far out from open water.
No, and it's really tough to find those baits right now.
Big time.
A lot of people, like, Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, all those big stores, they're all selling out.
We just went ice fishing this past weekend, and there's a local ice shop in town. Was it third, fourth year they've been open?
They've been open, yeah. I think
maybe longer, but they've been open a few years. It's not their first rodeo, and they've never had a problem keeping stuff in stock. And they're just one additional shining example of how hard it is to find friggin' anything. Any fishing related item, period.
Yeah.
Dude, they were cleaned out.
It was cleaned out. There was one shelter in there, and maybe a few...
Couple of tip-ups.
Maybe a couple of
one
tip-ups.
jaw jacker.
Yep.
Just, so...
Nothing.
All of the shortages in stock you've been experiencing last year, too, it hasn't changed at all. It's going to be just as ugly this spring. So, now is the time to start buying, which is why I decided to expedite this particular episode earlier into the show schedule than I had originally intended, because, dude, you gotta be on it right now to start getting all this stuff. And if you can't get it now, then hopefully you get it the next week or two.
Because ice out comes quick.
It does come quick. So go ahead and continue that conversation however you please. I will be gone for 30 seconds while I post this.
I don't know what to say.
Well, talk about what ice out bass fishing is for us as far as like the usual time frame.
Early, as soon as the ice is gone. As soon as the ice starts clearing up, we always keep an eye. Pretty much at the end of ice fishing, when the ice gets sketchy, you don't want to go out on it. I mean, I've gone out on lakes that were half iced, and we've been fishing the open water and fishing deep, and we'll go into that a little more after with some of those. And a lot of moving bait. You start using moving baits, but very, very slowly. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, I need to show you. I can't. I'm bad with this. I work with my hands. I talk with my hands. What I was told there was an open bar.
Oh, trust me. It's open already for me.
I haven't even... You left my drink upstairs.
I'll go get it. You simmer your pants. All right, that's posted. That's...
Now my chat works. Great to see you, boys. Great to see you, too. Hey, thanks again, Fishing Mode, for posting that. That was awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Quantum...
You can talk about... Ooh, do you want to talk about your 7? No, not yet.
You or who?
We got it. You. He
Me?
asked, do you want to talk about... Oh, look at that. You left a little puddle of poo over
I
here.
told you.
I think it's a melted ice cube. Let me get that drink. You give me 3 seconds.
Alright. Talk about your 7 and how slow you were going. And you left your drink on the floor behind you. Yeah, it's gone. Thanks, John. I don't know if I want to talk about my... I will. We'll talk about it when the time comes. Quantum baitcast reels. I've never owned one. Thank you. What are these?
They're like baby drinks.
Oh my god.
Adult baby
cherry.
drinks. Have you tried one of these yet?
No.
Oh. Alright, I got one for myself. I'm ready now. We're ready to do this. Where is my phone? Right in front of me. We're ready. I think we were drinking this last week. Actually, going to set up this one.
You might have. I didn't. I had the cat one in the bus.
No, I didn't have this one last night. I just picked it up this week. Definitive Brewing Company makes some absolutely incredible beer. So that's what I'm drinking tonight. But I started drinking these too. Oh, you probably can't see it because of the glare. No way. Canteen Black Cherry Vodka Soda. Dude, it is literally tastes just like a seltzer drink with a hint of vodka. It's really good. It's scary good.
Can't taste the vodka.
It's because you have a problem.
I've been drinking months.
Yeah, I see all the other stuff you eat and drink.
Well.
Okay, that can go away. Don't step on it. We're pretty much ready to go. Before we start, 30 seconds of your time. For those that are watching, you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. Always greatly appreciate that. If you haven't hit the notification bell, definitely do that. YouTube's a weird animal, and it doesn't always notify you or show up in your feed that easily when we do upload. So, if you could go that extra mile, would be very helpful. And anyone that's willing to share the stream, like, hugely helpful. I've said this so many times, I said it last week. Community support is bigger than anything. You know, I can do everything I possibly can to self-promote. Andrew can do what he can. I can post to 1,000 different Facebook groups. Like, there's nothing as impactful as support from the community and you guys sharing these things. And just, whether it's by word of mouth or actually posting on social media, whatever. So, if you're willing to do that, seriously, thank you. I cannot thank you enough because it's very, very helpful.
I mean, I'm terrible at posting stuff, and I still share it, so...
He reposts my stuff.
I repost his stuff, see?
Which is, seriously, it's better than nothing. It doesn't matter. Like, literally anything helps. Don't underestimate how impactful even like something as simple as just a share. Like, you don't even, like on Facebook, you don't even have to write anything to accompany it. Just sharing it. It's huge. So, that's that. Real quick, what I want to be able to do is pull up on this. I had a document with all of the different topics that we're going to cover tonight. And, well, not topics. I mean, it is essentially just one topic, but I kind of wanted to keep it in order for what baits it was I wanted to talk about. I meant to have this pulled up. I'm sorry. That's okay. It took me 10 seconds to get it up. Ah, don't do that. Come on, open. There we go.
Ooh.
I'm going to start this. No, I'm not.
Can you read that?
I can. I just need to see the bowl. The rest are just kind of notes for myself.
I can't read.
Alright, how many times have you guys heard me say how much I hate fishing jerkbaits? Up until recently. It was something that I struggled with for a very long time. And I originally was going to start this talking about my absolute number one go-to bait. But I think I'm going to turn over to Andrew first. And I'm going to obviously jump in on this too. But I want to talk jerkbaits. When you're talking ice-out bass fishing, jerkbait should be at the top of your list.
Like the number, well,
Like,
for me, number 2, but number 1. It should be number 1.
it really should be. It is astounding how good it works. And it's not... Alright, we're going to crack this can of worms open. Alright, buddy. Why don't you grab your favorite jerkbait and start out of your giant thing. I've got all mine lined up. A couple of new ones.
I got a few.
Yeah.
So, for early... Oh, that's wet. How'd that get wet? Oh, my coffee.
Look at... I can't... This is what I got to work with.
So, I started off throwing jerkbaits. Well, when early season, I started throwing the Cutter 90. Well, I started throwing the Cutter 110, and I switched to the Cutter 90.
The Berkeley, right?
The Berkeley, yeah.
Yep.
Berkeley Cutter 90. And I don't remember what color this is, but it's got chartreuse on the bottom and brown and clear and stuff. See that better, but this is what I started throwing jerkbaits early season. This and the Rapala slash bait in the blue.
The OG.
This thing, actually this one, is now broken. This is the one I caught that 6-pounder on. That was in fall though.
Yeah.
Still cold water, still working it. I was working it different, but. And then I moved up to the Vision 110 because this is a $7-8 jerkbait, and this is $25 jerkbait. These they usually come.
My wife's watching this, isn't she? Stop watching for a minute. Vision 110s.
Yeah.
And I have 2 more on the desk. That's, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Costs more than my boat.
Yeah. We're going to get to that in a little bit more detail, but I just wanted to share. Because I love the Vision 110.
This has a slight rise when you cast it out. Sometimes when you in between jerks, they sink or they float. This has a slight float to it. So when you jerk it, it has a very, very slow float. And for some reason, those bass love it. These do not move. You jerk these and they sit. They just sit in one spot. They don't sink. They're made not to sink and they're made not to float. They're made to sit in one spot. And they do.
It is an expensive jerkbait. The Vision 110. The Vision series at $25 a jerkbait.
Expensive.
But it is the only jerkbait I've bought. And I have bought a lot. That case you saw is half of the number of jerkbaits I have in my other jerkbait cases. I have 2 of those cases just for jerkbaits. And I hate jerkbaits. Not anymore. I did.
I love them.
The 110 is the only one I have had to do nothing to get to work out of the box. It suspends perfect. And it's got really good action. Make it work from ice out all the way through, like, damn, even in the post spawn, I was doing really well with it. Other baits I've had, up and down success with. That 110, I don't know if it's just because it's different, or it has a unique action, or if it's a combination of a bunch of things, but it just works so well.
I'm trying to see if I have
And
any
it's
suspend
absolutely
dots.
worth the money.
I don't think I have any suspend dots on any of mine.
I have them on the next bait we're going to talk about later, but I don't have any on my jerk baits because I've gotten all of mine tuned in.
Yeah.
John asked about line. We're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on that soon. That's kind of the tail end of talking about baits. Well, specifically jerk baits, and then we'll talk about gear that we use for that too and everything.
Well, tuning. Are you going to tuning?
So, tuning. Well, I guess before we go down that road, so number one, Jerkbaits. Number two, he covered a couple of his favorites. Some of my favorites, obviously, so the Vision 110, he just brought it up. I did too. This is, I want to get nice and close. I think it's the GP Pro Blue 2, something like that. That is my go-to color, my absolute confidence color when really cold water. This is the 110 plus 2, but it's, I forget what happened to my regular 110. It's like a ghosty perch. That's my number 2. The perch are really active in the spring, so perch pattern is money. Those have been my go-tos lately for my regular, like, average diving depth jerkbait, and then now the 110 plus 2, so I get a little bit deeper for some of these glacial lakes we've been fishing. Before that, I was a Lucky Craft guy. I still am. I like them. That's the Pointer SP100, and I don't even know if they make that anymore. And I don't remember what color that is, but it's basically the same as the Vision 110. You know, it's blue, it's got a black back, it's got kind of a white belly.
Is that Lucky?
Yep. And I don't know what it is about that color in the spring, and especially stained water for largemouth, but that's why black and blue just works in general in the spring, and no different for jerkbaits. Not to say that other colors don't work, but that blue, it kills it. And then what I picked up recently, because we're going to be going to fish a pond down in the Cape pretty soon here. I specifically bought this. I thought we were going to go like 2 weeks ago. And we changed plans and went for stripers instead. But probably one of the next trips we make is going to be to this place. It's really shallow. So I got the Berkeley Ripstop. And this is only like a 2 to 3 foot jerkbait. I am covered across the whole range of depths with these baits. I have a couple of Jackal Squad minnows, which I don't even think they make those anymore.
Ripstop do you have?
That one. And then,
so I have that and the big boy.
Yeah. So I think I actually have a big boy hiding over there, but I just grabbed one for an example because it's a shallow diver, but it's still a suspending jerkbait. And then I've got my Vision 110 and my Lucky Craft SP Pointer, which is kind of like anywhere from that 3 to 6 foot range, depending on what you're throwing for line. Typically they run like 4 to 5 feet, though. They're pretty spot on for being in that narrow window. I've got my 110 plus 2 for when I get down deep, like 16 feet. And I'm going to be buying a handful of 110 plus 1s because I want to be able to throw within like 2 foot increments, anywhere from 2 feet for a couple of very specific ponds, which is why I went with the cheaper Rapalas because I'm not going to get that much use out of anything else. And then some of my deeper glacier lakes that I'm very, very fond of, that I'm getting much more comfortable fishing jerkbaits.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my go-tos. And now tweaking. What was the word? Wow, brain.
Tuning.
Tuner. This is where shit gets really complicated. It's not straightforward, and there is no like one and you're fucking done, kid kind of answer that I can give you, because every jerkbait is different, and what line weight you use greatly dictates what's going to happen, and what line type you use.
I prefer early season, since you're not going to be ripping it like you would be in the summer. A little bit lighter line.
Mm-hmm.
I will go down to 10.
We talking line first, or are we going to go into tuning first? Let's go line.
Tuning. Okay, yeah, tuning. All right.
Tuning.
So
we'll do line last.
So like I was saying, oh, you already have one out.
Yeah,
like I was saying, with the cold water, they either sink or they float. You want to, when they're floating, you're trying to get it as close as possible to not moving at all. So you get suspend dots with a little, what are they, lead?
Yeah, it's basically lead tape.
Little lead tape. And you put them, it all depends on how vertically and how weird it's floating up.
Yeah, because some of these will float, I mean, like straight up and down head first, yeah. And then some of them are a little bit more even keeled, so you kind of play with the position of where you put those little suspend dots.
You want it to be at an angle like this.
That has definitely been the most consistent setup for us from where we've been getting bites, is having it slightly keeled down. I don't know how you put that. Head first.
When a fish is dying, it's usually like...
Right?
like this. So, I'm guessing that's just how you want to do it because it works, I guess.
Yeah.
But it does work. It's
really hard to figure out how much of that you need. It's not just like 1 or 2 or whatever number of suspend dots. Sometimes it's like 2/3 of one suspend dot. You got to play with it a little bit. And one of the things I found has been really helpful is having a really good like razor blade on your boat, almost like a utility knife.
Yep.
And I use that to cut on my braid when I'm either just tying straight bait or if I'm tying leaders. It's also really good for just lightly nipping away at that suspend knot to like get it perfect.
Yeah. Another reason why you want to have it like this, it sets it up for your next jerk. Really. Because if it's sitting like this and you go to jerk, it's just gonna be like bleh, and do something all weird. But it's sitting like that
too.
Because of the lip. When you jerk it, it catches that water and it sends it all frickin' wonky. But if it's going to be floating like this or like that, you're gonna jerk and it's just gonna go. It's gonna and do some funky shit. So you don't want that.
I can't. All right, best guess. I don't even want to give a percentage. The vast majority of the time, you can get away with either suspend strips or suspend dots, and sometimes it's even taken me like a partial suspend dot up front and even like lesser partial one to the back to be able to get that thing really tuned in and get it to either suspend or have an insanely slow sink. I'd rather have, if I'm fishing clear water, like no vegetation, I'd rather have a slow sink. If I'm fishing weeds, I'd rather have a really, really slow rise, but if anything, I'd still rather have a slow sink, and I will change it if I'm getting into the vegetation. If you can't get the suspend dots to work, then your next bet would be to start playing with treble hooks, and that is a nightmare that even I don't deal with. I don't love doing this enough to go that far, because let's face it, dealing with really small split rings sucks.
Yeah.
Even when you get the right tools, it's not that fun.
Just put the suspend dot right behind the first hook.
Yep.
And
just get it close.
As long as you don't get it till it's just barely sinking, you're going to be good.
Yep, and it's going to be fine. Don't chase perfection. I spent literally years chasing perfection, trying to tune these damn things in. And with a cheaper jerkbait, you're going to be chasing your tail, man. Just the variability. I mean, I could go out and buy like those ripstops.
Yeah, and they're
not the ripstop. What was the other one you had with the feather? I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, the slash bait. That's the whatever. Yeah, slash bait.
Yeah, basically slash bait. It's still jerkbait, but the Berkeley ones with the feather on the tail. I can't remember what the brand they were. Rapala, thank you. The variability from that, like you could go Bass Pro, for example, right?
I still have tape on there from...
And you could buy all 10 of them right off the rack. And you go buy 10 different rods, or 10 rod setups, same rod, reel, line weight, the whole 9 yards, and throw them out, and you're probably going to have 4 or 5 different variations of how those jerkbaits are going to work inside the water column.
Trust me, I've had plenty of them.
It's insane, and you're going to lose your mind trying to go for perfection. And that's what I thought I had to have for years. You don't. Just get it close enough and don't worry about it. For line, that's where it gets kind of pricey. It's the only thing where my cranking rod is the only rod that I reline multiple times in a year because I just want different line types and different line weights. The other ones I wait until I've run out of line and I need more, and then I reline it. Mono or fluoro?
I like fluoro.
Ice out? Neither. I have it right here. I was smart and I made sure I kept it out.
Yeah.
So when we're talking sub 45 degree water, and I learned this from a friend, you don't want mono because it floats, you don't want fluoro because it sinks. So you get the best of both worlds, and you go with fluorocarbon coated monofilament. I think that's what that is. Yeah. That would have been funny if I picked up the wrong spool.
It's carbon.
It's not perfectly buoyant, but it's pretty damn close. Just getting any sort of copolymer line where it's, both, that works way better inside of that sub 45 degree water temp for me. And I just keep it simple and I go 10 pound because I want my deeper jerkbaits to get down as deep as I can. But going with that copolymer line allows it to remain nearly neutral in buoyancy. And that's really what you want for a suspended jerkbait.
Right.
But that's my personal preference, and he goes a little bit differently on what he does.
I like fluoro because I just don't care. 10 pound when it's super cold, at like the least. That's just my preference, just the way that it feels, and the jerk you get out of it. But in the summer, I usually go because you're really ripping it and you're really putting your line through a workout. I would use 15, straight 15, fluoro.
Yeah, you go heavier than anybody else I know. but it works. And that's the thing, like, he has proven to me more than anybody else just how rarely a line weight really matters for what fish are willing to bite, even for smallmouth. They're not as line shy as you think the majority of the year. There will undoubtedly be some days where it seems that, yeah, even 6-pound test gets bit better than 8-pound. And I've had my ass handed to me a couple times because of situations like that. But vast majority of the time, like, if you're just a one-line kind of person, like, don't overthink it.
Yeah, don't overthink anything. It's find the line you like, find it the way, if it just feels right and you're catching fish on it, just stick with it.
Yep.
That's
So,
what I did.
for me, when I still had just one rod for cranking, technically I do, but I have 2 7-foot medium rods that both work great for both jerkbaits and crankbaits. So now what I do for my, essentially just my jerkbait rod, I go that 10-pound copolymer until it gets to about pre-spawn time, like mid to upper 40s. And then I'll rip it all off. And I go with pretty cheap brand. I can't remember. I mean, that P line's really not that great a line, but it's cheap, and that's why I got it. And then after that, I'll go to 10-pound Seaguar Invisics. And then I have another rod, identical setup, that I throw straight 12-pound Fluoro on it. And I forget what that is. I think I was doing a Brazix on that.
See, the Invisics, for me, is just too stretchy.
Which is why I like it for crankbaits.
For crankbaits,
for just straight up jerkbaits and crankbaits, I like having that light stretch. And I forget who told me about that. I don't even know how many years ago, but I adopted it and I like it. Like, it's a great combination of that added stretch in that line with a spongier 7-foot medium rod. I just don't lose fish when I'm cranking. And if I feel like I'm in and around, like if some days when I'm cranking like heavier, especially like rocks, or just around any heavy duty structure, I'll throw it on my other rod, which is just 12-pound Brazix. And then I even have another rod that's 15-pound Fluoro that I throw like light duty jigs or Texas rig stuff on too, if I'm in like some really, really thick crap. So I have a bunch of options, but if I had to pick one thing, straight 10-pound Fluoro, and I'll rock that all year long.
10 to 12.
10 to 12.
I go
Can't
15.
wrong. I think that's it for jerkbaits. Was there any other added point you wanted to throw on with jerkbaits?
Jerkbaits. How slow you work them.
Yeah, that's one. Wow, God, that's one thing we didn't talk about. That's got to be the most important thing. How dumb am I? Cadence.
I go anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds. 15, 30, sometimes 45 seconds without even touching it and just waiting. Just like a jig. They're suspending jigs. Really.
Ice out bass fishing as slow as you can possibly stomach it.
Remember that video? I'm sitting there and I wait,
Yep.
and I'm just shooting the shit with him, and then I'm just like,
Ah! That was that the day with the with all the perch? They're skeeting all over you?
no.
It was a different day. But it was about that same point. But yeah, I mean,
it was the day we were at the expo, and then we went out after.
that was the very first trip of 2020.
Yep.
The last day of the New Hampshire Outdoor
It
Expo.
was.
So it was the first weekend of March 2020. And we went to a pond, and the water was, I think, 38 degrees. It had just iced out.
I was there the day before.
Yep.
So that was my first trip the day before.
Yep. And we were out there, like he just said, crack, crack, and wait. The other added aspect of this is not just your cadence for how fast you're fishing it, but the tautness of your line. And he's just... If you ever want to learn jerkbait fishing, go fishing with him. Because he's got it down, man. Like, he's got the cadence down, he's got the patience to let it sit, and then just having a slight loop inside of your line. Like,
Yeah.
you're not letting it down dead slack, but you're not keeping it super tight.
You don't want to tight because you don't want to move it. You want to feel it, but you don't want to move it. And you don't want to let it have too much slack where if they hit it, you're not going to feel it. Because when it's cold out, sometimes they smash it, but 9 times out of the 10, they're just going to come up and just go.
Yep.
And you're not going to feel it. And they're going to sit there, and then they're going to swim away, and then you're going to be like, oh, shit, and miss them.
That, out of everything, is the hardest thing I had the problem with getting confidence in when I was trying to fish jerkbait all these years. I was way overthinking, like, oh man, is it too tight? Am I moving it too much? Do I have too much slack? Am I missing bites? Like, jerk, and then just reel up a little bit to pull up the slack, just enough that I have now picked up my line off the top of the water. That's it. Just create a light swoop in my line so there's some tension. That's enough that you can feel a bite. If they come up and just mouth it, you might miss it. I don't know if it's my setup in particular or if you still just can fish it or feel it in general. But I had a few bites, especially this year, that gave me that, even last year too, that gave me that confidence on what he was saying, just letting it sit and soak. No line jump, they didn't truck it, nothing, just feeling a little thump. And that's it. There's, like you said, just come up and they mouth it. But I can still feel that with that slight bowed tension in my line. It's enough that, me turning around to talk to him and inadvertently moving the rod around is not impacting any crazy action in the bait. It might move a little bit. That's fine. It's not the end of the world. They're still going to eat it.
Do you have a real baitcaster?
Yeah, actually I do right there. I'll get it. Without knocking everything over.
Well, yeah, with colder, you don't want to sit there and when it's super cold out.
You can unwrap the line.
Sit there and crack it like it's 90 degrees out. Oh, God.
You want me to do it? I just reel it right in.
I do, I just go. And then I just... Oop, I didn't hit the... There's no rod there. I can't feel what I'm doing. And then just... That's it.
Pick up the slack.
Pick up the slack. Crack, crack. Every 15, 30 seconds. Pick up the slack. And just wait.
Yeah.
You can have your other hand warming up in your pocket.
And if you're not getting bit... When we're talking ice out fishing, it's probably because you're going too fast.
Yep.
Not that you're in the wrong area.
Yep.
You'd be surprised. Like that's going to be next week's episode. We're going to talk about in a couple of episodes. We're going to start talking about like areas that we target. As long as you're in a general area that's a high probability, I always call it.
Say around like 7 or 9 feet.
They're going to be there.
That's my money spot in the spring.
Yeah. You just got to fish slow enough.
Yep.
And that's a hard thing for a lot of people to wrap their head around. And actually do. All right, so I guess we covered cadence. We covered rods, lines, favorite baits, everything. We didn't miss anything.
For jerkbaits.
For jerkbaits, no.
I think that's any.
So yeah, that's why I wanted to go.
Questions about jerkbaits?
I wanted to go to questions before we moved on that we missed. This is 70, yeah.
Smokes, kid. Let it smoke.
Yeah, 8 pound is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. They're still going to bite on heavier line, so I go with the heavier line. I haven't ever felt the need where, like, man, even 10 pound is too much and the fish are line shy. John, you saw it in the New Hampshire Brownie Factory this year when we went out there. There was a couple of bites that I got, and I was fishing straight 12-pound fluoro on that. But that was different from this. I mean, we're really focusing on ice-out bass fishing, like the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season, when water is working its way up to that magical kind of 45-degree point where things really turn over and start to really turn on.
Then these really work.
So, but that day water was closer to 50, and I mean I was crack, 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 pause, and you'd watch it just come out and smoke it and truck it when they were doing it.
Yeah, when the water warms up like that, which we'll get into in a few weeks, that you'll watch your line jump. Like you can have slack line, then you'll see it jump, and then you can just lean into them. It's fun.
Fishing mode, you are absolutely right. That we call that blowing the fish whistle. Like the smoke.
Yeah.
Ryan Matthews from...
I got a foghorn in my boat.
Works great, though. All right, I didn't see anybody else chime in for questions or additional comments on jerkbait, so I'm going to start shifting things around and go to my absolute bread and butter when it comes to spring, and he has become a believer. But I'm going to give it one more second just in case somebody else wants to chime in. Move these things out of the way because I just know I'm going to lean my arm onto one of these in the middle of a stream one night. It's going to happen. I'm calling it now. Or somebody else does. Get your shite out.
Drink. Is that mine? Yeah.
Ice out. Blade baits, jerk baits, lipless crankbaits, anything that looks like a dying minnow. So, yes. Yep. Before going to the next topic, let's talk blade baits. I don't throw them in the spring.
Sure you want to get into that?
No, and I probably should, but that's the extent of it. They work, but the consistency to which they work is not really there well enough for me. And
we did have that day getting smallies on them. Early spring today. I got the Laker.
So, and then there's that other aspect. A lot of that depends on where you're fishing. I know guys that will fish it, and they'll fish it like even around heavy vegetation. I don't have the patience for that, man. I've got a bunch of other different things that work really good. And maybe I should, but I'm not there yet. There's 1,000 other things I've worked on and been patient for. That is something I don't have the interest or patience to do yet, is a blade bait around vegetation. Most of our spring fishing we do around here is in little kettle ponds, where it's super shallow and it's straight up vegetation pretty much everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Or like just nasty, craggy rocks. You cannot fish a blade bait in these conditions. You're just constantly fouled. That's why I don't have a blade bait in there. If I fish the lakes region, or glacial lakes in general, for the vast majority of my early like spring fishing, ice out fishing, blade bait's going to be not only on the list, but in the top 3. Because I'd be able to fish a lot more. So with that said, it's not on here. This is going to be the extent of what we talk about blade baits. But you should be throwing them if you're in a lake that it will work, because it absolutely will, and it's no different than fishing in the fall. Just super slow. You get that. If you're interested, go watch the Bass Fishing Quick Tips video that we did on blade baits. And everything I said in there still applies to the spring. And that's it. That's blade baits right there. Nice, neat 3-minute, 45-second video for you. With actual presentations, because I don't have any blade baits here.
I was the camera guy.
He was, and he did a fantastic job. Andrew hooks himself, you drink. Yep, that was the the game last week too. Let's, for the sake of speeding things up a little bit, because we lost a lot of time. Wow. We're gonna double up. We're gonna talk about my bread and butter. That's not. This is. And I'm gonna pull in another bait that I was gonna hold off till later in the day. That is a jig.
I mean, it is a jig.
That's a spider jig. Get up in there. Twin-tailed hula grub on a 3/8 ounce, either with brush guard or without. Ball head or football head. Tungsten, nod lead, doesn't matter.
I like the brush guard.
It depends on where we're fishing. Again, if there's vegetation, I'm throwing with a brush guard. And I should, no, I'm not going to find it. If I had the case, I should show you. I have like 4 rows of just 3/8 ounce football jigs. Green and brown with brush guard, without brush guard. Because that's how much I rely on these things in the spring. This is one of the just most productive baits I've ever thrown in my bass fishing life. Simple as that.
Mine's similar. Especially
in the spring. And it works killer for both largemouth and smallmouth. Yeah, I was going to do like spider jigs and then swim baits, which here, and then jigs. Jigs. Let's just comprehensive jigs. Specifically, though, I'm going to break it down by my number 1 and on for jigs. Spider jig. There's 2 different ones that I like when I'm throwing these. There they are. And it really doesn't matter. I found that I've gotten bit just as well. I wonder if this is the other.
Oh, chompers.
Chompers or Gary Yamamoto. That's all I throw. Whichever one you can find. And that's one of the things I really like about Bass Pro is that finding these is very easy. Even at my local hardware store, county stores, they've actually got a pretty good bait selection. And even they will carry the Yamamotos if I need them. The Yamamotos are great. They're really expensive, just like anything else that he makes. The Chompers, actually, to me, is the same. It's a bit bulkier of a bait, which is still fine. Fish don't seem to care. They eat it regardless, whether it's got that garlic scent or not. You can't go wrong. 4-inch. Sometimes I'll throw a 5-inch, but I really like a 4-inch twin-tailed hula grub. What?
Just saying.
What? Oh, that on that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah,
no,
absolutely.
No, this on this.
Oh, the Marauder on that. Probably. I don't see why not.
But yes. Okay. Anyway,
we'll come back to that.
So
that's it. And I've always thrown a football head, but when you're talking 3/8 ounce, there really isn't as much of a benefit to a football head. Like, it doesn't really stand. 3/8 ounce is too light. 1/2 ounce, it definitely stands. But I actually started, and maybe it was just the brand. I can't remember what I tested, but at the 3/8 ounce, they don't want to stand. So football head, ball head, whatever you can find, either one. I haven't noticed any significant any difference at all.
No, there's no difference. It's
in what I've been catching for fish. Right? Yeah, and the ball head's supposed to be better around rocks. It's not supposed to get stuck anywhere near as often. For hooks, Tackle Supply Depot, based out of Connecticut, used to have their own house brand tungsten ones. And I don't know what happened, but they just didn't restock on them for 2020. The last time I looked was, I want to say like June or July. And that's typically where I would stock up on because I like to fish tungsten. We have to fish non-lead here in New Hampshire. And it's been great, but because I couldn't get that, and I wanted just no skirt, just a plain Jane friggin' football head with or without a brush guard, lead-free bass jigs. out of Massachusetts.
Yep.
Phenomenal, just insanely good value. Like you for non-lead tackle, he is very, very difficult to beat for pricing, and shipping's fast. He's got 1,000 variations. There's a couple other guys that I've bought stuff from. Gordy's Custom Tackle.
Yeah, that's like strictly all I use.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah, now that I think about it, I've been buying a lot more of him than him because I can get that locally, so I can just jump.
Yep.
But
yeah, and they work. They're good. They're really good. It's the same as everything else. I mean, they're just a good jig.
Yeah, and it's a 4/0 Gamakatsu hook.
Yeah,
I think it's a 4/0.
Yeah,
some of them are 5s.
They're strong. Trust me.
So for how I rig it, like I just run it right down the middle, and I like a 4/0 or 5/0 hook because then the hook point gets out really close, right in between the two tails. For what I'm throwing that on, it's typically a 7-foot medium rod with 12-pound straight fluoro. Sometimes I throw on 15-pound, maybe sometimes medium heavy, depending on how else I'm rigging up the rest of my rods. But 12-pound straight fluoro. I did play around with going braid to leader this year, and I'm kind of warming up to it a little bit. I just have to adjust my hook sets, which I don't like to, so I don't snap fish off. I'll throw this anywhere. That's why I do brush with brush guard or without. If I'm near any vegetation, the brush guard's on. If not, then I will absolutely take it off every single time if I don't need it, just because it helps to give it a much more subtle and finesse presentation. I'll throw it around rocks. I'll throw it over steep banks with literally nothing on it. I'll throw it across flats with nothing on it. And I'll throw it in and around vegetation, individual boulders, like giant boulders, rock pile, it doesn't matter. Like especially if you can get it around rocks. That thing just kills it. I took him to the pond in which we do not speak this year, and we had a couple slow days, and then I pulled out the spider jig.
I hammered him.
Crack, crack, crack. Would you put one on, please?
Fine.
Crack, crack, crack. And we were fishing a fucking nothing, boneless, bare-ass steep bank. But we were marking bait fish everywhere.
Yep.
It didn't matter where we were. They were just fucking coming by the hundreds underneath the trolling motor.
We're just like...
Yep. It's good. It is absolutely, to me, behind the jerkbait, they're 1A and 1B. You can't fish one without the other, in my opinion. The jerkbait covers everything that's not on the bottom, and that guy does cleanup duty. And vice versa. Sometimes they're feeding down early in the year versus feeding up for suspended stuff.
That's another thing. Like, when we go out in the spring together, or, well, really any time, we're always doing something different to start.
Which is awesome that it worked out like that. Now, I mean, now we're both comfortable and confident in both. Obviously, one more so than the other for certain things.
Right.
But it's great because we start the day fishing something we have absolute 100% confidence in. It's two entirely different things. We're covering two drastically different conditions. Someone starts hammering them, and the other one switches over.
Hey, just put this on.
It's a very efficient way of getting onto them early.
Yeah. And then jig.
That's it. All I got for that. We were talking Jack Levitt. What's up? Sorry, I'm not doing a really good job.
Me neither.
Yup, Paul, jig, spring, absolutely. John, thank you for putting the link in there. Okay, we're caught up. All right, so spider jig, jerkbait. Hang on. Notice the colors too. I know it looks like it's black, but it's black with a blue flake. Blue jerkbait. That's it. 1A, 1B, 1A, 1B, depending on your style. If there's only two baits you go fishing in ice out conditions with, these better be them. End of discussion. Everything else on there just helps narrow things down. And that's what we're going to cover. So, did you pick it up or did you put it down?
It's over there.
All right, next up. Go ahead. We're still talking jigs.
Still talking jigs.
Beast Coast.
Beast Coast.
That's the Max Feel Tungsten half-ounce football jig. I think it's 7/16, but what? Half-ounce.
Find yourself that color.
Black and blue, baby.
Black and blue with...
Did I... No, buddy, I forgot to bring you some trailers. Hang on.
I forgot them.
No, I got them. I just got to... Go ahead, keep talking. I'll get the case down. Black and blue. They're right there.
Oh. Well, this little guy
That's good, bro.
has gotten me more big fish than any other bait. I fish this all year long. I never put it down. A lot of people stop fishing it during the middle of the summer, or they usually fish it the spring and fall, and I fished all year long with this thing. And I don't even know. I put a lot of big freaking fish in the boat with that.
I'm glad you said something because these were actually two things I really wanted to talk
Those are
about for trailers. What was the one that you'd like to throw? I think. Wait, it's not the Rage Crawl.
No,
Or was the Rage? It's the
big old burly
that one.
motherfucker.
See, got us covered. I will also throw a straight skirted football jig, all damn season long. But for black and blue, I typically keep it for stained water, and then green pumpkin brown for everything else.
Look at these ones.
They had that.
That is a trailer.
There's one more I meant to bring out. It's a new one to the party for ones that I have confidence in.
So the craw works really well. As you can tell, it's just going to sit. Obviously. But these little guys, what the hell are these things called again? Super Chunk. These things are awesome. These things work great. And then I like, what are these them?
It's essentially the same thing.
Same thing. This is a Rage Bug, and what's the other one? Structure Bug?
I think so.
It just got bigger. It just has bigger wings or whatever the hell you want to call them, legs. They're pretty much that size. But anything really that's gonna, when it falls, it's just gonna go blah 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 blah, and that's just gonna grab the attention of a big fish. And
not on that one.
no, not these ones. No, these ones do something weird.
So, and that's one of the things I want to talk about. Ben, when you're talking hook sets for jigs, hammer it, dude. Home run hook sets. That's it.
The
Easy
last
peasy.
5 videos we made.
Yeah, Mondo hook sets.
Well, besides the stripers.
Right, which hasn't been uploaded yet, but that's the next one.
Okay.
So, skirted football jig. I only throw Beast Coast now when it comes to those because I can get them easily. They're a great price even before my discount. And they've got like all the colors I want. Like black and blue, green pumpkin brown, black brown, like that's it. And black and blue and green pumpkin with brown was all I threw for years. And I killed it for many a year, fishing just those two jig colors. I only recently started going with variations on the colors I like. Like I'm actually trying to work in some purple with my black and blues this year. I tried the other year and I'm coming around. But when it comes to trailers, everything he just showed, the Zoom Super Chunk, the Zoom Super Chunk Junior, the Berkeley Chigger Craw, and even though it's not black and blue, the Beast Coast Marauder. Probably show the packaging. What all of these have in common that's really important for ice out fishing, they almost have no action in the legs. There was one that he showed, that Strike King Rage Tail. That one has a little bit more action, but like not crazy because those appendages aren't too big, and they'll still bite it. But like that's the most action I would go with. I would put that a little bit more action than the Marauder. The Marauder legs do not kick that much, which is really what me personally I have found great success with. The Zoom Super Chunks, the legs float and they stick. And when you're fishing, you know, sometimes half ounce, I prefer a 3/8 ounce. And if I'm not throwing the Beast Coast Max Feel football jig, they have a 3/8 ounce Arky head, which is kind of like a jack of all trades jig head. It's got a very slow rate of fall, and the legs aren't kicking like crazy like you get with a straight up Strike King Rage Craw. And that's what they like. And especially when it's sitting down the bottom, the legs just stick straight up. It looks like a very lethargic craw, like, oh, please don't eat me.
Jesus, you know? Take the wheel.
And it works. Like, you don't need flashy. So when the water's below 45 degrees, Zoom Super Chunk Junior had been my go-to for ages, and then I couldn't find it for a little bit. Everybody started liking it. A little too much.
Yep.
So Berkeley Chigger Craw was my number 2 to go to. The Paca Craw, the Netbait Paca Craw Junior, I think is what it is another good one. Just like anything that's got these absolutely straight, no tapered legs, but has got a craw profile is great. The Beast Coast still works in cold water. It's a bit of a bulkier profile too if you're like trying to go for bigger fish. Although small fish eat it just fine. Don't ever think that it's only a big fish bait. But it's got a little bit of flutter in the legs when it's just straight drop on a jig, especially a light jig. Especially on a heavier jig. On a lighter jig, slower rate, those legs can kind of do a little bit more dancing. That's it when it comes to skirted jigs and trailers. Mm-hmm. It works phenomenally. Ice out to ice in. Jigs.
Same thing, though.
Jigs.
Same thing as jerkbait. Slow.
So slow. Which
Slow.
really parlays perfectly into the next one. You can talk about that first. I'll put these away. You want to talk slow. And what's
Slow down with
killing it. That's okay. That's not even one we were throwing. The people don't even know about that one.
And that will do right there.
3-inch swim bait.
On like a half-ounce.
That's a 3/8 ounce ball head.
That's 3/8?
And that's from lead-free bass jigs.
Feels heavy. Little swim bait. Little 3-inch swim bait. That. Bomb that thing. Don't touch it. Until you do. But
Like 30 seconds?
yeah, 30 seconds roughly. And just when you pick it up, you just want it to do this. Just
Can they see that?
yeah, they can see it's
No, it's behind your gear.
no, I know it's going behind the boulder. And get onto those boulders. But if you do get on a boulder, do what he does and just fucking, and then they pop off and then fish bites it.
Dude, I've had a lot of fish bite, like when I snap it free. Or, all they see is it stuck. I can use my own.
Yeah,
beer.
usually
Can't
it's
use it.
COVID.
No, I just got a rapid test the other day, and I came back negative.
I came back positive with something.
Yeah, we don't want. Whoa, this is worse than COVID. Anyway, so if it'll get stuck there, and I get a little slacking as I'm trying to snap it free, and sometimes that's enough. Where how many times did it happen this year? Lost count.
I don't know, a lot.
A dozen times or more.
It's happened to me a few times too.
Where definitively stuck, and all of a sudden, boom, oh shit, that's a fish, and they'll just come up and they'll suck it right up off the rock. Or when you do snap it free, it snaps free. If they're sitting there looking at it, sometimes it's enough just for that reactionary bite. Even in really cold water, they'll come up and scoop it. Otherwise, they're in and around the rocks, and they're like, holy shit, look at that. That dude's just chilling there. Why is he chilling there? Oh, I'm just going to go and eat him.
Yep.
And it works. I will throw... This is the Z-Man one. It's definitely a tougher rubber. You know, it's that fake stuff. It's that super-duper stretchy. Rip. Oh, don't hurt me.
But that won't break. That'll go all the way out to here.
But it looks good in cold water. I was throwing the hell out of this thing in the spring, and on some days where like I even was fishing with friends that got skunked, I still put in a few fish in the boat on this, just a 3-inch swim bait on either a 3/8 ounce or lighter head. I will not go heavier. In the spring, I go as light as I possibly can. And the first time I remember reading about this was like 6 or 7 years ago. Was it that long ago? Yeah, no, it's fine. I was trying to think. And when I first started doing it, I only had 1/8 ounce ball heads. I didn't figure what the hell I bought those for. I think I had a shaky head. And I took the screw piece off and I just fished it like a ball head. And I caught a couple of fish after going out and getting skunked for the first time in like a couple of years. And I was like, oh, holy crap. That works. And just like he said, a cast. Well, let's sit there.
Boulder.
We're just going to take our time. We're going to let it sit. And then we're going to move it to how much? Yep, that's about it.
About that much.
And then how long? About another 30 seconds.
About another 30 seconds.
Dude,
just hold the tension, same as a jerkbait. Just a slight, just so you can feel. So if you pick it up and you feel it, that's moving it. That's not. You're not just moving the line. You feel it. You feel weight. It's just barely moving it, and then just sit there and wait.
Yep.
Your arm might get tired. They do. Your arms do get tired.
So fishing this specifically is when I will go braid to fluoro leader, because the bites can vary greatly. We've had a few days where, I mean, in the fall they've been straight hammering it.
There's a lot of times you don't even feel it at all.
Yeah, in the spring you don't. So if you don't have that braid, you go to reel in and it's just going to feel spongy. You can see it stretched even from your fluoro, but at least if you have the braid, the no stretch. You may not feel the bite, but you'll at least be able to tell, oh shit, that's heavy.
Yeah.
And just lean into it.
That's the thing with the fluoro. And in the spring you'll be fishing 50 feet of water, and that
we're not going to talk about that one. We're hiding the better one.
that fluoro will stretch in that much water.
Yep.
It's just, and you could be 100 feet from the boat because you're still in 50 feet, but you're casting out 50, 60 feet, and I don't know what is it, trigonometry?
Yeah, pretty much.
Sure. I don't know. Geometry of it. Yeah, but it will stretch. It does stretch.
So SNH angler Keith, yes, absolutely, yes.
Fishing mode.
How do you fish those, Andrew?
Fish. What am I fishing?
Figure them out Is he still talking swim baits?
I don't know.
Must be, because we were talking about that for a while, and that's relatively new. I'll give him a second for that. What lakes are around you? Oh, no, he's not talking to us. He's talking to, I can't see who that is. Kotu.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Oh, colors for the swim baits, too. Dude, green pumpkin. Like, even, you can go with darker colors if you want. Even some lighter colors, just kind of play around with it. Just a straight green pumpkin with a black flake has been great in the spring. I mean, like, really cold water, sub 40-degree water, they're still eating it.
That'll work all year, pretty much all year, too.
Yep. This is
green pumpkin is just money.
Yep. It looks like all the little micro perch and micro gills and stuff. I mean, their colors are off a little bit, but it's close enough. Once it's down there. You know, it still gets bit. Just keep it simple.
Swim baits with the heads.
So, yeah, he was talking about this.
I just told you. Cast. Let it sink all the way to the bottom. Wait. Don't freaking touch it. Done.
Don't lift your rod. Sweep. Sideways. Parallel to the water. And just keep it just...
Don't.
Get your tension so you know that any movement from that point forward is going to move it, and just cock your wrist. That's it. As slow as you can go, man. It's a patience thing. It takes practice, but
you will feel the weight. I mean, you're gonna feel the weight of like a lot of grass and maybe some rocks and some wood and timber, whatever down there. But when you lift up, you're gonna feel the weight, and just like a normal jig bite, you're gonna feel the dunk, and you just swing away.
There's and you can play with the lengths too. I mean, Kitech makes a bunch of different. Jesus Christ, what do they have? Do they go down to 2-inch? Well, I know they have 2.5, 2.8, 3, 3.3, 3.5, 3.8, 4.3, 4.5, 4.8.
They have it all.
They have it all. Just find one that you're happy with. I have them all. I have 2.5, 2.8, 3, 3.3, 3.5, 3.8. Oh boy. I'm not gonna take them out because. But like that's a good sized tote. Can you read it?
I can't.
Finesse swim baits. I have 2 of these just for small swim baits, and then I don't have. I have. So I have 2 of those. If I can get this down, it's actually kind of nice that we're doing this in here, as I can have like easy access to almost all my stuff.
Right.
So this is my large swim bait tote. Large swim bait tote. Like that's a pretty good sized tote. I have 2 of these just for 3 to 4 inch swim baits, and then I have 2 more of those smaller totes for 2.5 to 3 inch swim baits. I like swim baits, but I'm not the big boy swim bait kind of guy. Not yet. I mean, I'm dabbling, but man, dude, those finesse swim baits. Once you start throwing them, you get a little confidence in you. It's another ice out to ice in thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you can fish them so many different ways. But just on just a jig head, football, ball, whatever.
Yeah, you can throw them on the drop shot. You can throw them on everything.
Mm-hmm. Drop shot in the summer. Oh, I can't wait till we get to that point in the year. But we're still very far away.
Can't wait for night fishing.
Yeah, just be out like when it's really nice out in the middle of the night when it's quiet.
But now it's cold and it's probably snowing right now.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's set those. Oh yeah, we still talk those, but we talked that. Oh.
Oh yeah, another kind of jig.
More jigs. We've covered all that.
We kind of went over this last week.
We started this with the moving bait, and then from there we went to all bottom contact baits. Looks like we're gonna end it on moving baits, but we're still on bottom contact. Beast Coast Hustler.
The Hustler. If you've been following us, you know it works.
So, disclaimer though, we haven't fished it in super cold water yet.
Haven't.
There's no reason why it shouldn't work.
It's gonna work.
Wanna know why?
100%.
That's a traditional hair jig. And I forget who the heck make this. I think it's the Strike King one. That's just a buck hair, bucktail hair? Bucktail? I don't know. Bucktail, fucking whatever.
Butt hair.
It's a hair jig. It is just a straight up hair jig on a 1/4 ounce head. And that is one of the most productive cold water baits I've ever read about. I've done a metric ton of reading in my time, and I still do. I prefer to read articles more so than I do watching videos, because most of the videos you see, unless it's from like a Wired to Fish type channel, have just way too much fluff, which is why I started that new series on myself. Provide the details without the fluff. And every time I talked about or read about cold water fishing, they're always talking about hair jigs. So, There's no reason why that shouldn't absolutely hammer them at ice out.
It's got the schmutz in there. It'll work. I'll catch one.
It's got the hair. It's still got the skirt. It's got the good
teeny tiny, so cute.
I think that's a 1/4 ounce. The black and brown one, the dirt bag, that's a 3/8.
I want it.
But that black and blue should be 1/4.
We're gonna catch some fish on this spring.
Yeah, and the hair on that one doesn't look that good because I accidentally tore it when I was taking it out of the bag, like an idiot.
You were shaving it.
Trailers on that? It depends. It varies.
It's the same thing with a normal jig though. You have we only took out what four different types. It's the same thing. You want to match the trailer to the size of the jig, really.
Yep.
You don't want some honking. I'm not gonna pull that out. Honking Marauder, like full size, not cut down, with these freaking 2-inch legs on this teeny tiny little bait. It's just gonna look ridiculous, and the bass is gonna be like, "Nope, I don't want to eat that thing."
You know what you can do?
That thing rode the short bus here.
This is what I would throw in it. Like when we're talking spring, want to why? Tear off the top 2 legs and tear the body. So show the full length, and then tear it down to the next set of appendages, and that should be like perfect.
So that's full length.
Yeah, show it all together.
And then you just right behind the legs.
Gross.
Yep. Oops, sorry, Chrissy. Now look how short it is. It's about the same size as the jig.
Go ahead and throw it on. So actually, we were talking to Derek, the owner of Beast Ghost, was talking to us after we had really good success fishing that with a swim bait trailer this year, and he's like, "How are you throwing it on there? You have problems with tearing them off?" Like, not really. The bait keeper he had on there is pretty good, but some changes are coming to make it even better. It's gonna be nice. But as they are right now, they still work great. So if you have some, like, don't worry about it. They still hold up great. So what he's doing, he showed you. That's the wow, I'm an idiot. This whole time I was saying Berkeley Chigger Craw. It is the same damn thing for what it looks like. These are actually the net bait pack of slims.
Can't see because I'm in the way, but
it's the same thing as the Berkeley Chigger Craw. Nice, small profile. You don't need a trailer. You're fishing hair jig. And I'm not taking credit for this. It's from what I've read and from what I've told by people, especially the last 2 seasons, from people that I know that fish a hair jig. You don't have to throw a trailer on it. Sometimes it might make a difference, sometimes it might not. If I'm going out this spring, when I go out fish this spring, I'm going to throw just this. And I'm going to throw this exactly like this, if I can get the legs to get down.
Can't type.
I don't figure it out. Get down! I'm going to throw that. Just like that, with those, if I can get it from my arm, there you go. With those little legs. I'll throw the Hustler just straight up, as it is, bare hook. If you're throwing a plastic on it, really the added benefit isn't so much the bulkier profile, but that you're slowing down the rate of fall on your hair jig. And it comes down to speed and cadence. Slow! Dude, when you're talking cold water, as slow as you can possibly go. What does slow mean? We're going to keep reiterating this, and I'm never going to stop. Not until the end of the show. And I'm going to continue. Exactly. Slow. Slow. What does slow mean? + seconds at times. 2 minutes of not touching it. And that is something I'm still not good at. That I've been talking to other people that have trying to get to that next level myself. Slow. It's, for me, slow before was like I waited 15 seconds and I feel like I'm going to die. We went out this year, and we were fishing 45 to 60 seconds not touching it, and I felt 100% comfortable and confident. And I forget who I was fishing with. They're like, dude, this is slow. I'm like, they're going to be here. And they were.
And they bite.
And you have a couple of good days in doing anything, you're going to have confidence in it. And I was fortunate enough we had a few days where we're letting it soak 60 seconds.
When we go... All right. This spring, when there's open water, when we do our first few trips, we'll go live and we'll show you how slow we go. You gotta go.
Alternatively, as well, or in addition to that, to demonstrate that when we get to that point, when I'm making the videos, like I'll point it out that it's coming, and I'll throw a timer up, because I obviously know where he's gonna catch a fish, and I'll back it up to the cast from the moment it hits the water. I'll throw a timer up so you can see exactly, specifically to the second, how long we're letting these sit in between initial movement to bite, the whole 9 yards.
Not saying they don't hit right off the bat as soon as it hits around the fall. Sometimes they do. But a normal fishing situation where you cast out and you're looking for these fish and then you find them and you're waiting and waiting and waiting for them to bite. It takes minutes.
Yep.
each cast.
And that time can be drastically impacted by those crazy weather swings that we get, especially in New England. I'm not talking just New Hampshire. I know we're New Hampshire based, but New England as a whole, northern climates as a whole, with those crazy swings in
it's the
weather,
whole country. It's
yeah,
the whole friggin' earth.
You're gonna have to adjust your cadence accordingly in order to just adjust for those differences in temperatures, and they can be very wild swings that will set you back. You could have had like a week and a half of like, yeah, man, when I started at the beginning of this stretch, it was like 60 seconds, and now we're down like to 15 seconds, and they're hammering it, and you might get set back to 2 minutes waiting. And sometimes you get a cold front so bad they're just not going to bite, which happens. But for the most part, just slow, and as soon as I can hear my dad's voice right now, the moment you think you're going slow enough,
What do I do?
go half that.
What do I do?
Oh, buddy, what did you do?
What do I do?
What did you do?
Got it.
Yeah, the moment you think you're going slow enough, go half that. And just continue to build upon that.
And then
you'd
go
be
half of
surprised.
that.
Like, perfect example, I literally just said, right, like, tail end of this year, we're fishing those swim baits, and we were killing it. And we were waiting like 60 seconds in between movements, and our movements were only like a couple of inches at a time. But you saw the fish. Like, we have backed everything up that we're talking about now with all the experience, and I at least am fortunate enough to have all the video footage and all the posts like that. We know what we're doing. We had success doing it. And then we went to Canada and I got my teeth kicked in. And I was fishing slow. But I was still fishing too heavy. And then I thought I was fishing slow. By relative to everything else I had done in my life, I was. I was fishing 60 seconds in between movements. Talking to guys, I went down there and hammered the same day I got my teeth kicked in. 2 to 3 minutes. 2 to 3 minutes of doing nothing. Bombing out, put the rod in your crook of your arm, just sit there and keep your hands warm, and just when you think you're about to lose all hope in life and the last bit of your sanity, then check your bait.
Mm-hmm.
That's how slow you're going to go. And it's a little bit different in the springs. Sometimes it's that bad, but you at least are moving towards faster fishing. It's a little bit more difficult as you're going towards ice in versus ice out.
Because you don't know if they're slowing down or if they're not going to bite. At least in the spring, the water's warming up and they're going to eventually, throughout the day, they're going to start biting.
Right. It rarely moves backwards.
Right.
It does happen.
In New England, especially, it does go backwards quite often. But
okay, so we just last touched on the Beast Coast Hustler and hair jigs. I think that covers it. We reiterated the point on cadence. God, we cannot emphasize enough how much cadence is important. I think I want to get another drink, but what do we have left? I think everything here.
Hey, urine.
All right, you go do that, and then what do you wait? What do you want to talk about first? Because of these, I know you're good on these.
To the right.
That one you're good.
I don't really
Moderate?
fish them that often.
Okay, this.
Yeah.
And okay. So I'll talk this. Okay. And then when you come back, we'll talk those.
Okay.
But I want to talk about those too. But that'll give me a chance to get a beer.
Okay.
All right.
I can go.
Yeah. Take care of bodily functions.
Pee.
All right. Everything to this point, with the exception of where we started with jerkbaits, right, has been bottom contact. But we started talking about jerkbaits working suspended, moving baits. They're moving them, but the idea of it is you're trying to keep them as dead still as possible to take advantage of those lethargic bass that are in the middle of the water column. And then everything after that we did was basically a variation of a jig. Now we're going to swing back the other direction and wrap this up with all moving baits, which I'm sure a lot of you are going to be much more comfortable with because, let's face it, moving baits are easier. When we're talking, all right, we said, let me pick this up. This was 1, right? 1A. If that's your 1A or 1B, and this is your other 1A or 1B, jerkbait, jig, 1C, red lipless crankbait. Oh, I'm going to get that up nice and close. And this is, I had the package, it's right here. Hold on, hold that thought. Sorry. The original Rattle Trap, Bill Lewis, that's what I was looking for. I knew it was the Rattle Trap, but I couldn't remember. It was Bill Lewis, sorry, is what I was looking for. And, hello. I don't know why this red freaking craw color works so damn well in the spring.
God, yeah.
Largemouth and smallmouth, dude, they go nuts for it. And I finally got to see firsthand exactly how aggressive smallmouth can get for that red. when we were on the New Hampshire Brownie Factory earlier this year, and I was fishing with my buddy Travis Rocket, who is a licensed fishing guide up in the northern area of New Hampshire. If you guys are looking for a guide this year, I'm going to try and get mine still, but if not, I know a guy that'll take you. And him and his dad, I owe the foundation of everything I know of fishing lakes, like glacial lakes, to these guys. They're phenomenal people. But Jerkbait wasn't doing it. Ned Rig wasn't doing it. Drop Shot wasn't doing it. Shaky Head wasn't doing it. Spider Jig wasn't doing it. Just like all of your standard go-tos for smallmouth, we're not doing it. And this was even when the water was like 45. It's still pretty cold. And then Travis rips this thing out. And I watched all day, literally for hours, dozens of smallmouth, anywhere from a pound to 4+ pounds, go right by everything we threw at them. Travis throws that red lipless, and I saw smallmouth come at about 100 miles an hour from 15 feet away and smoke it. I've never seen anything like that before. Like, being able to actually witness it. But especially in that context. To be able to see, like, I can see these fish, I know they can see me, and typically that just doesn't end well anyway when you're going for smallmouth and really clear water. But at least at a certain point, like, they'll come over and sniff things, and they were just like, fuck you, we're not looking at anything you're throwing. He busts that out, and he just... It's the most unreal thing I've ever seen. It was awesome.
Wish I was out for that.
And it works, man. How do you want to fish this? There's a couple of different ways that work really, really well for this.
I like yo-yoing it.
Yo-yoing it is the absolute go-to.
Yo-yo, and then when it starts to fall, I get a little pop.
Yep.
And then let it sink.
And I always follow it down with tension in the line.
Yep.
Like, it's kind of what we were talking about with the jerkbaits, where it's not so taut that, ow, it's drink, that's swinging to you on a straight pendulum,
okay,
but just enough that you can feel it as it's falling down, but still let it fall down. That there will be, it's almost like 50-50 that they'll bite it when you're retrieving it, and then the other half the time they're going to eat it when you rip it up and it's on the fall, and they're going to scoop it up on the way down. Just a super slow retrieve across the bottom, nice steady retrieve, they'll eat it. Instead of yo-yoing it vertically, those horizontal arm sweeps I was talking about earlier, that also works. It's a little very similar to fishing a blade bait, basically.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing, just a wider body blade bait, really.
Yep, and specifically the red. There's other colors that work, so don't overlook them. But if there's one color you're looking for, it's that brand, that color, everything that. And I'm okay with telling people that now because I've got 6 more over there. I'm good for the spring.
I actually think I have a few of these too.
You should. Sorry, let me elaborate. I have 6 more brand new ones in the package over here. That doesn't include the other 4 I already have in my other lipless crankbait tackle box.
Right.
I'm good. I made sure I stocked up before we were talking about this. Dude, that thing is just, it's killer.
Yeah, they're fucking sweet.
Again, jerkbait, jig, lipless. You've got everything you need for ice out bass fishing. Those 3 things right there. You've got middle of the water column. You've got bottom feeders with the jig, and then you've got the lipless, which kind of covers everything. So that allows you to cover water in an efficient, but you can still do it very slow manner. And I've got these in quarter, half ounce, and 3/4 ounce.
Yeah, 3/4 ounce. Weren't we using those that day down in Mass when we went down there?
Yeah, and that was that shallow spot, but it was only because we couldn't get any of the lighter ones. Nobody had them.
Oh, right.
We still made them work.
I had to pick those up from Joe's. He just mentioned Joe's.
Granite State Rod and Reel in Nashua, New Hampshire.
Yeah, they're fully
Joe
stocked.
Catalano.
He is fully stocked. He's been getting shipments in, I guess. I was there, last time I was there, he had gotten a shipment in like the day before, and he's fully stocked apparently now.
Dude, if you're in the area, you need to go see Joe. It's out of his house. It's in his garage. Wicked nice guy. He will talk shop with you all day long if he's not super busy. And his tackle selection is second to none. And I know there's going to be a few people that are going to be a little butthurt that we probably are going to be blowing this up. But Joe's a really good dude. And he deserves all the business because he's been at it for a long time. And he's a decades-long tournament angler. So he doesn't just put crap in his shop. It's all good stuff. None of it's gimmicky crap. Like, all of your standard equipment that you would ever possibly want. Tackle, rods, reels. He's got it. Go there. If he's anywhere remotely close to you, go there. I promise you, you'll not be disappointed.
What the hell's a vibra bug? It's like a vibrator?
Who said that?
Is that the one you use
John?
your phone and...
Alright, I need another drink. So yeah, lipless. Alright, jerkbait, 1A, jig, 1B, lipless crankbait, in that red, 1C. Any of those You're all your number ones. If there's anything else, have those. I almost would want to put swim bait in there, but the spider jig does more consistently better for me than the swim bait still. So, spider jig gets the nod. That's that. Oh, what am I throwing that on? Same thing as a jerkbait. 10-pound straight fluoro, 12-pound straight fluoro, doesn't matter. This is a moving bait. Treat it like a crankbait. Easy peasy. Is there anything else for me? Great guy. Yep. Rocky Ledge. Frank, yes. So, saving that for Rocky Ledge because that's going to be the next thing we talk about. But I'm going to let Andrew start. Let's talk these, because that'll give me a chance to go upstairs. And you'll notice that there's something on the bottom of those. On both of these.
Yeah.
And that's something I want to talk about.
That's
go
all
ahead.
you did. Okay.
On the topic of more moving baits.
More moving baits.
Squab-bells.
Squab-bells. These things...
Try not to knock it down.
Shallow. When you get to those days where you find the fish, they're up shallow, but they're not biting, they're not hitting the jig, they're not hitting the jerkbait for some reason. You get up into those rocks and you start smashing this thing off those rocks. I don't know if actually this one's like brand new. This one's not. Probably can't see it, but the lip is beat up. I mean, mine not too beat up. This one here, this one's broken on the side. Still throw it. You smash these things off the rocks, that will get them hungry quick. I caught, what did I get? A 636 earlier this year on this teeny tiny little square bill. Thing's tiny. In 4 or 5 feet? 4 or 5 feet of water.
There's that back pocket with all the boulders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I cracked this thing off one of those. I saw it come. I was watching my lure. I was watching this thing come across, and there was a boulder, and I was like, I'm just going to crack it off that boulder. As soon as it got close, I just went, crack, and it smashed off the boulder, and I just let it sit. And these do float. And it came up, and then I cracked off the boulder again, and then the fish came out and smashed it. I've had that happen countless times in the spring with these things. On the day we went, where the hell were we? Oh,
New Hampshire
God.
Brownie Factory for smallies. You cracked the crap out of him with an all-chartreuse square bill.
Yeah, that was a good day. That
was cold water, and the wind was friggin' ripping.
So, yeah, that's another thing, the wind. The wind ripping. Like, unable to throw a jerkbait. And you toss this thing out there, you rip this thing back in cold water. You don't have to be super slow. You don't have to be methodical about it. You just send it out, rip it back, and stop it every once in a while. It'll float up, and then just crack it again and start bringing it in. And crack it off as many rocks as you can. They won't get stuck. They sometimes do, but 9 times out of 10, that's why they come in like this, and the hooks are back. They're gonna hit that rock, and they're just gonna go right off of it.
Paul, I have spent way too much money at Joe's as well. Sorry, I wanted to back up because I saw you mention that comment. To expand on what he said, it's crazy how even in really cold water, they will come up. Did you just hook yourself again? Everybody drink. Even in really cold water, how effective a moving bait can be. And that square bill, just with how well it dances in that wide wiggle, works so damn well. I've had really good luck on this custom painted one from Rocky Ledge Tackle, which I believe is on a Lucky Craft blank. And just a little brown craw pattern. Really simple. And we had some days... I got to back it up just a smidge. We fish probably about the widest variety of bodies of water than just about majority of people.
Yeah, what do you want to go for today?
Right?
I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to throw? I don't know. Fucking just go do it.
And I was talking to some of the guys from the Dragon Custom Tackle team about this the other day, how fortunate we are of the diverse fisheries that we have. Anywhere within, in some cases, a 3-hour ride. But like the types of fisheries, what's in those fisheries, like it's insane how much variety there is, and even close to home, that's doubly true. So we're talking about fishing super shallow, and kind of fast moving square bills. These are like 30-acre kettle ponds that have a max depth of 12 feet, and it's like maybe 10 acres of it, and the rest of it is 6 feet or less. And then there's like really really good back pockets where it's only like 2 feet. You can't get a jerkbait down into that stuff. Maybe with that smaller ripstop that I bought, it only goes to 2 feet. Yeah, but everything else I had doesn't really work really well. But a square bill worked at a really slow pace in these specific conditions where you're going really shallow. You can crawl it, and it's just got this beautiful, nice wiggle to it. It's not going to get down into crap. And they like that. And they'll come up and they'll look at it, but they won't commit to it because it's still sometimes, I'd say more often than not, they still want it slower. And they won't hit it because as soon as you stop it, what does a square bill do? Shoots right back up to the top.
Now it's a topwater.
Unless you do that. I don't know. Oh, I gotta get
That's what we were talking about before.
Oh, did you already bring it up?
For the no, for the jerkbaits.
So for the jerkbaits, and then Keith, this is going to answer your question about adding a slightly bigger treble hook. Yeah, that one's even easier to see.
Yeah.
I had a day. Damn, 3 years ago now. I switched with my buddy Josh, and I had a wicked bad start in my spring, and we got back in the shallow pocket, and they just couldn't make the jerkbait work. Nothing, and I was like, all right, well, I know a square bill will work in here. Maybe it'll get their attention. It did, and they started coming out of the friggin' woodwork, literally. And and they would come up to it, but they wouldn't like finish. They'd come right up behind it, and they'd stay with it for a long while, but they wouldn't commit and close that like last foot. So I'd kill it, and they'd come up to it real fast, but it would float up to the surface. And as soon as it hit the surface, which is only about 6 inches to a foot down, they'd lose interest and bug out. So I was like, well, shit, I've got suspend dots. Throw 4 suspend dots on this, and it halves the rate that it was floating back up to the top. And that was it. And I started catching fish after fish after fish because I get their attention with the action and just that perfect diving depth of a square bill. But then the added benefit of weighting it down a little bit so it didn't rock it back up to the surface, and just that slightly slower difference in the rate that it rose back up was enough to allow them to just close the gap and eat it. That was one of the most rewarding things. And since then, like, I've got a fucking couple dozen of square bills, and half of them probably have 3 or 4 suspend dots on it specifically for that, because I do really well with that in the spring. That brown crawl works great, and of course, it just like that lipless, the red lipless. Red. I don't know why red in the spring.
It's that red, and it's no little bluegill.
Yeah, a little pumpkin seed almost.
A little thing. Yeah, pumpkin seed, bluegill. Any...
Oh yeah, that's bluegill. I have one that's pumpkin seed, but same difference.
Yeah.
Whatever. They call them common sunfish in New Hampshire because all of that's what everybody calls them. It's bluegill. It's pumpkin seed. It's sunfish. We have it all, and in many cases, all of them in the same body of water. Richard, yes, we did say drink.
We did say drink. First time.
Hey, thanks, G-Ham.
Live. Good stuff. Thanks, man.
0 cranks. I was looking at those. What do you throw for your gear for square bills?
For square bills? That's tough. I don't know.
Does it vary?
It's like a medium. 6 foot.
6'9"? Is that what that rod is?
6. I think it's a 6'9". Medium with, just like my jerkbait, 15 pound fluoro. That's just what I like. I can feel it. I can feel it vibrating and doing all sorts of other things. When they hit it, then I know I can really just lean into it. And I do.
Crack! I throw mine either same deal as the jerkbaits and lipless and all that crap. Either straight 10 pound or straight 12 pound fluoro. 7 foot medium rod. 6:3-to-1 ratio reel. That's pretty much it. Keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else for square bills? Did we miss? Good call. Nope. Okay.
Try and break it off a rock. I'm just throwing it out there again. Just smash it off rocks.
That's the beauty of the square bill. It deflects. Awesome. I think, was it coffin styles baits? Bills are supposed to do really well at deflecting too, but they also go a little deeper.
Yeah.
Something like that. I used to do a ton of crankbaiting, and I read everything I get my hands on from David Fritz, the king of crankbaits. But I haven't really done it much in the last 6 years or so. So I've forgotten a lot of those little nuances of stuff for like different types of bills and what one excels out over the other. Square bill is kind of like the do-all thing. It works for everything, and it works really well for deflecting around any structure, any hard structure.
Right. It definitely does.
I think that's it for all that stuff. Buddy, we got one more. It's a moving bait.
What we got? Oh! I got one.
Always the good one. Well, I got 2.
I've had a lot of luck on this one in the cold water.
Oh, that is a good one. All right, ready? You ready?
I guess so.
All right, throw them up. Chatterbait. Bladed jig. I do two different... Hey, you know what? I've been talking a lot. You talk about your favorite chatterbait setup before I talk about mine.
Well, that's it.
There you go. Now you know I had it out.
Either this color or the black and blue. Or no, that's not the black and blue. It is this color.
For what? The swim bait?
The trailer, yeah.
Yeah. I've got a couple of different ones. That's not like... It's black. It's not black and blue. It's blue and clear.
Blue, yeah, it's...
I forget what color.
Kitex, those like... The 4-point whatever Kitex. I forget what they're called. But they're practically that color. It just goes good with that.
I don't remember.
Chatterbait.
Oh, are we thinking the smallmouth magic? No. Anyway.
Slow roll this thing. Slow. Everything's slow. Everything's slow in besides sometimes square bills, but everything is slow. This thing you want to sink it to the bottom and just keep it just above the bottom.
Just above the vegetation.
Just above the vegetation, sorry, yeah.
Either way, no, bottom, vegetation, whatever. You know, just ticking it, tick, right across the top.
If you're coming up with just a little bit of grass on there, just increase your speed just barely, just so you're staying just above it.
Yep.
And you're gonna hammer them.
They smash that thing.
Oh yeah.
And it's weird because it's a straight, steady retrieve bait, but it works so well when the water's cold. Now, I mean, everything we've been talking about has been ice out bass fishing, right? But also into like that next stage, just beyond ice out. When you're talking water's low 40s, like now we are firmly outside of winter. We're working our way into spring.
That's when these really start to.
That's the next step, and I feel like in the right conditions, I think we can still get that to work in sub 40-degree water.
The day that me and Jeff went out before we went,
there you go. 38-degree water.
He caught, I don't know, he caught a couple on this, and we were only out there for like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. He got a couple, and he threw it under the ice.
I remember you telling me about that. So you can do a lot with this, and especially with trailers. And trailers are weird, and I don't know if it's specifically the jackhammer that makes a rib-style swimbait work, but typically I've not had good luck with rib-style swimbait, like especially Kitech, Swing Impact Fat. I don't know. I haven't thrown that specifically on the jackhammer because I've been throwing these striking range swimmers, and it just works great. Or the reaction innovation like skinny dippers, like that slimmer style swim bait seems to work really well behind a chatterbait. But I don't know if it's just that the jackhammer works that much better that it allows it to swim more streamlined. I don't know. I haven't done enough testing on it. But if you're fishing the jackhammer, it seems that pretty much any swim bait works behind it. I found on the original Z-Man chatterbaits, a Kitech, for example, like the ones that I've used were 3.5, well actually 3.8 inch or bigger. They didn't mesh. Like there's too much turbulence created by the blade from the chatterbait that the swim bait just didn't swim right.
I have a secret.
What is it? Is that you were waiting for that whole time? You're just waiting for me to shut up so you could... All right, fuck you.
No, you got right into it saying the turbulence and everything. But with the bigger swim baits, this one's put on... This is normal. What's the difference?
I can't even see
that trailer is backwards. That's upside down.
That's what it was.
You take that, when the trailer is too big, and you got all that turbulence, that tail's not going to do a goddamn... You'll see it's just going to do this through the water. You turn it upside down, it's going to catch that turbulence upside down, and it's going to catch that water, and it's going to move it. Try it.
He's
Guarantee
absolutely right.
It's going to work.
I 100% forgot about that, and I remember you put me onto that. Mm-hmm. Where did you hear that from? I forget. Was that...
Tactical Bassin. Pretty sure it was Tactical Bassin.
You're probably right. Not backwards, but yeah, John, you're right. Not backwards. Upside down.
It's freaking backwards. Hey, you want to put it back?
Right side up.
Watch, I'll put it back.
Upside down. You want to be pedantic, John? Shut up.
John, I'm going to catch a fish like this.
Hey, John, you want to go fishing with me? Too late. Now you're going to have to wait until fall.
I'm going to use it, dude. I'm going to catch a fish like that.
It's really going to get bit.
A wobbly donger, baby.
Wobbly sausage.
Wobbly sausage.
Alright. If I'm not throwing swim baits, I'm just throwing a craw trailer. Beast Coast Marauder strikes again for this, and it works really good.
Okay.
You can turn it like in line with it, or like there you go. So his is in line, mine's sideways, and depending what you're doing, like it just works. And what I like about the Marauders, what I had brought up earlier when I'm talking about using it as a jig trailer, there's not a ton of action in those legs. Like if you throw a Strike King Rage Craw on the back of a chatterbait, looks awesome, and I do it all summer. When the water's colder, I want something a little bit less kick, but I still want it to have a subtle swimming action. I don't want to just dead stick behind it, or else throw a stupid Senko on the back if you just want bulk and something to sit back there and do nothing.
John, yes.
What? What you're doing? Oh, okay, yeah, you can come fishing with me.
Come with me.
Yeah, like, so finding something like the Marauder, where, there's just a little bit in the legs. Like, these are streamlined, except for right at the very tip, and they're a little bit bulbous there. And it's just enough that it gives it a very subtle swimming action. And that's what I like about it. And again, like, I typically throw it so it's in line that way, because then it looks a little bit more natural. You don't have to. I've gotten it bit both ways. Doesn't really matter. This does seem to be a little bit more effective. I'm not sure what else I throw for trailers. I don't think I've really had to. I've done the Marauder. I've done the Strike King Rage Crawl when it gets warmer. And then this. And this specifically. These two, actually. This isn't just a fad. And I brought this up before it became a thing at the Classic and it blew up. Mm-hmm. We were talking about...
For last year?
Yep. We were talking about this stupid thing. And it dawned upon me, and it was when we were at the Expo, the New England Expo in January. And I was like, why haven't I tried throwing a red spinnerbait or a red chatterbait? And I went to Rocky Ledge, and I bought a bunch of red spinnerbaits. Mm-hmm. And then I went online and I ordered 4 or 6 of these. Of the red chatterbait, the jackhammer, like a week before the Classic. So I was already stocked up, and then the Classic hit, and you couldn't find them for months.
Yep.
And I had a couple really good days in that color, but I've had many more better days just on a straight up black and blue.
Yeah, we'd go out anywhere like 5 to, I don't know, no, like 3 to 8 feet, and you just slow roll that thing any time of the year, really. And they'll hammer it right before sunset.
Yeah. We were having most of our success was working the transitional areas. And now, again, we're kind of talking a couple weeks after ice out bass fishing at this point. But it's still important to note because this kind of fits in on either side of that transitional period and in those transitional areas. So anywhere from deeper pockets where they're going to be in the winter mode up to those shallow spawn flats when they're hanging in those transitional areas. If you're not throwing that, you're seriously fucking up, bud. We had some really great days doing that. And especially for largemouth, working like weedy areas in those transitional areas. Like, I can't say the pond, where I caught my 6-pound 2-ounce 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was
textbook. Mm-hmm. Transitional area.
From like 3 feet down to what?
12 feet in some spots.
Yeah, 12 feet, but then there was
like this band of like 8 to 5 feet where it was just vegetation.
Yeah, and then the vegetation just stopped.
Yep.
And you got hit up in it though.
Uh-huh. I think I missed one up shallower.
Yeah.
And then I was still working that edge, and I wasn't working it quite parallel, but I was working kind of a strong angle, so I was trying to keep it right in that zone as long as possible. And there's one particular spot, it's like the spot within a spot within a spot, and it was that vegetation inside that depth range with a couple of branches from one solid tree that kicked way out, and it ended like right at that 5-foot depth mark. And I remember getting that chatterbait just up right like 3 or 4 feet deep area and working it, and I was able to position my rod where I almost got it to bow around that branch, and I got like a foot past that branch, just thunk. Stopped dead.
That was sick.
Oh, 6 pounds.
That was 3 days of nothing.
Yeah, that's right. We fished Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that was Sunday afternoon.
We got like, I don't even think we caught. No, we caught fish, but we didn't.
I legitimately think I caught 1 fish and then 2 fish. Or 2 and then 1.
It was abysmal.
And then I still only caught, I think, 3 or 4 fish the day I caught the 6, but I caught a 6. I know it's kind of an outlier for an example, but nonetheless, it still bears repeating. It's a good example. It's a phenomenal bait to have when you're a couple weeks out after that, and you feel like they're starting to kind of push up. They could be on either side of transition here.
Well, they were.
They were. It's great search bait if you can get the lipless crankbait or the square bill to work in those same areas. Absolutely. Same with the jerkbait. Maybe just change up your cadence. Like that's a conversation for another day.
And that was one of those days that we went through the jigs, we went through the jerkbaits, we went through the square bills, we went through drop shot, we did everything.
Oh yeah, that's actually one of the other. There's 2 honorable mentions that I have out that we didn't talk about, but we'll finish that thought before we go to that.
I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Just we tried everything else for traditional stuff,
Oh, yeah.
and then we switched it up and we went to the bladed and
Yeah,
immediately found success.
Yep. And it was like a weird time of day too. It was like 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. It was
a weird time of day because we were like almost ready to get out of there because we were just sick of it. We're cold, fucking tired, fishing 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
But that was sick. That was a good fish. That thing was huge.
That was the second year, and it didn't help that Kyle had just gone out there and caught like a couple 5s.
I know. We're like, oh, we're gonna hammer
the
him.
day before.
And then we get there and this place sucks.
Drastically different weather conditions. Remember, he
Yeah.
was out like bluebird skies and all that timber was super warm, and he cracked a couple of giants out of the timber.
Yeah, you did.
And we go the next day, and it got a little bit colder overnight, and it was just straight clouds the next day, and everything shifted, and it just took a while to figure it out.
We had fun.
So, all right, I'll do a full-blown recap after this. And what I'm going to do for people that are still watching, whether it be during live or when you go to the channel to watch this after the fact, there's a way I can go back and timestamp the video in the video description. So for each, however much time we're talking about a specific subject, I can timestamp it before it starts. And you can see it segment by segment by segment. So towards the very end, down the video description, you'll be able to see final recap for everything. And we'll tie it all up in a nice little 2-foot kind of, 2-minute recap. We're done with these. Honorable mentions. I'll take this one. You take that one. I'll take this one.
What do I do with that? I can't say anything about that.
Okay, you can talk about this then, because I know how to talk about this. All right, honorable mentions. There's many different
I
ways.
could say a lot of things about that.
Yeah. Ned rig. Dude, a black and blue 3.5-inch Finesse TRD. No, sorry, 2.75 inch. I thought it was 3.5 inch. Just on a 1/10 ounce Ned rig. Kills it at times. Not always. I've had very, very up and down luck with throwing a Ned rig immediately after ice out. And I only started fishing the Ned rig 3 or 4 years ago now. I think it was 4 years ago. My buddy DJ, 3D_fishing on Instagram. First time him and I fished together, he kicked my ass at the New Hampshire Brownie Factory throwing a Ned rig. It was the first time I ever knew about it. And I went in there like thinking I was going to have a great day throwing the drop shot. Nope. I got skunked on the drop shot, and he gave me a Ned rig, and I was able to salvage the day with a couple of rats right at the end. And then the day we went out,
You did that for me too.
Oh my god, we didn't even talk about your fish, guy. Speaking
one?
about ice out fishing, we'll do that dead last. Your
one?
PB.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was one of the first questions they asked, and I meant to touch on that. We were talking jigs, and I totally forgot to circle back. But ice out bass fishing, we did. I think that's literally the name of the video title. If it's not the video title itself, it's in the thumbnail. And it's Andrew holding his PB, 7-pound, 7-ounce largemouth. And it was, we went out there Friday to snow blow the boat launch, and then fished on Sunday. And there's still snow covering everything. The place had just iced out 3 days before. And I was throwing a Ned rig, and I caught like a dozen fish. Just throwing that. Black and blue, 2.75 inch, the Finesse TRD from Z-Man, on a 1/10 ounce tungsten Ned head. That's it. And they were loving it. They were eating it up. And then I caught a couple on the spider jig as well, and then he caught a couple on the big boy, just a skirted jig. But
Yeah, half ounce I think it was.
Yep.
I think it was half ounce with the rage tail
That thing, right?
structure bug.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it was a structure bug. I think it was.
So honorable mention to the Ned rig. I've had good days with it. I've had plenty of days where it didn't even get sniffed. So it's a very up and down bait from what I've had from personal experience. There's still a lot more room to experiment with it.
So is this.
It's worthy of an honorable mention. And then
Up
the
and down.
other honorable mention.
Vertical. Get it? Dad joke, John. Haha. Got him.
So proud of you. Oh, Richard, have a good night, buddy. Sorry if I missed you.
Donk Swampy. I fucking love that name. What was I talking? Oh yeah.
The last honorable
The
mention.
Beast Coast Magic Flick. Money. Actually, what is this one? Bankroll. Close enough.
Oh, why'd you tell him?
Go ahead.
It's
His favorite bait.
That's my favorite color.
It's his favorite color. Go ahead.
No. I just did. I forgot to tell you. Don't tell him that color. Just kidding. It's actually one of 3 colors that I rely on most heavily. Why did I put that away? You were just talking about it.
They're in the bag here. These things. Cold water, drop shot. Well, I mean any drop shot, I guess. You want to start with a short tag.
And on a Ned rig.
And on a Ned rig.
And on a Demiki head.
And on a Demiki head.
They're very versatile.
You
But
can use this thing on everything.
you're talking drop shot. Go.
A drop shot. You want to talk about the bait or drop shot? You can talk about the bait. I'll talk about the drop shot.
Okay, so everybody, I'm just trying to collect my thoughts here. So I talk with minimal interruptions, and I'm not doing so good. I probably should stop this. But all right, I have been throwing the hell out of the Magic Flick for the last 3 years, and it absolutely slays for most of the year. At some point, the fish really change preferences, like right in the middle of summer, and they won't touch a sub 4 inch bait. Anything with 3 inch bait, I can't get them to sniff it. Go to a 5+ inch bait on a drop shot, and you start smoking them all over again. But where this really excels more than anything is in cold water. Beast Coast has got their formulation down perfect, coupled with an absolutely phenomenal bait design, that this thing works incredible in cold water. Rubber does not behave consistently across temperatures. Water temp, air temp doesn't matter. That's why they say you're really not supposed to run all-season tires on your vehicles. You should have a separate set of winter tires because it is a different formulation for the rubber, so it's still, has a level of malleability, for lack of a better way to put it. Your plastics, your rubber baits are no different. They do not perform the same when you're fishing them in 80-degree water in the summer versus 35-degree water in immediate ice out. Beast Coast works mint in really cold water, and that goes for all of it, because it's the same plastic they use in all their swim baits too. When it comes to cold water, they're very, very hard to beat. They still maintain a very good, lively, but not like insanely crazy action, even in really cold water. Which is why I rely on the Magic Flick pretty much right up until the beginning of deep summer pattern.
Yeah.
And then I got to upsize, and then they stop because they kind of stop eating the smaller thing.
Yeah. Fishing drop shot in cold water. I'm sure all you guys know what drop shot is by now. You got your hook, and then you got your tag end that comes down to your weight, so the bait suspends. And the colder it is, the closer you want your bait to the bottom. The warmer it is, you can have it up to 18 inches, 2 feet. You could have it 3 feet if you really wanted to, if you try and cast that.
Yep.
But
you play around a lot with
Yeah.
your tag length. If you
Right.
have graphs, electronics, pay attention to them.
Mm-hmm.
As you're catching fish, pay attention to how you're doing it. Are you catching a lot on the fall or off the bottom? Are you having a great day fishing a jerkbait or a jig? And you can use that to dictate how you're going to set up your drop shot, your tag lengths. And you can, that's just another tool that you can use to, I just spit everywhere, to target those fish depending on what they're doing.
Mask.
It's so-so. It's touch and go. Sometimes it works, even in really, really cold water in situations that a lot of people wouldn't even think to throw it. And then there's plenty of other days where it's just like you feel like an idiot throwing it, which is why it gets honorable mention status towards the end. It has worked, but not consistently enough for me that it's something I'd say you absolutely should have tied on.
No. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Close. I feel like it could be. We're getting better with it.
Yeah.
But it's hard to put time into it to get better with it when, more often than not, any one of the 1A, B, or C's kills it so much that we don't need to fall all the way back to that to try that.
Yeah, we always have at least one of these, like, rods on the boat.
Yep.
And throw it for maybe 10 minutes, and if it gets bit, it gets bit. If not, whatever. We'll throw something that's going to get bit. But that's with every bait. So you bring what you think is going to work, what should work, and you shuffle through and you find what works, and then you just stick with it.
Right.
And then you figure out the cadence that you want to work to get those bigger fish to bite. And then it keeps going on and on and on and on. It's a science, and you got to figure it out. But we're here to try and help you.
Yep. Share what information we can to help everybody get better, while only keeping just the most juiciest of secrets to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because, god damn it, we put in a lot of time to figure those out. And that's not to say 100% of everything we figured out. We get a lot of help, too, at times. But can't say we haven't figured out a lot for ourselves, too. We've put in the time. And it's been an honest effort. We're just not going out there fucking blind, winging it.
10, 12, 15, 20 years.
Yep. And, more than anything, we're constantly and always in, like, an analytical, like, phase. Or analytical mindset every time we're out there. We just went back down to Connecticut, not last weekend, the weekend before, with my friend Dennis Hart. And he texted me afterwards. He was like, honestly, that was one of the most fun times I've ever had fishing. And I'm kind of paraphrasing, but the gist of the message was that, plus, it's like, you guys talked the whole time. And you were constantly, like, analyzing what it is you were doing, and why you were doing it, and what wasn't working, and what was.
You were?
And you always forget. But no, that's the thing. Like, you and I, we don't think about that anymore, because that's just how we fish every time we're out there.
You're right, I guess.
Literally every time. We're constantly talking to each other about, like, unless we both just stumble into something that works, and the other one just kind of picks up from looking at it. But on days that they don't go great right off the bat,
yeah, you're right.
We're constantly talking.
Yeah.
Constantly analyzing what we're doing. Like, what the hell did you just do to catch that fish? Okay, you've caught several in a row. Like, did you... For the most part, we can remember it correctly. And, like... And there's been plenty of times, especially the last couple of years here, where, like, he's just kicking my ass. And I'll almost stop doing what I'm doing to really watch him. You're like, there's like, something subtly different about what he's doing that is working. Because it'll even come down to, like... Dude, same bait, same weighted head, same line, like everything, and he's still like out fishing me. And sometimes where I'm out fishing him.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
Yeah, and it's one subtle difference, and a lot of that it's almost always cadence. Whether it's just time in between pauses or how vigorous you're working it, whatever, a little extra snap of the wrist. We're just always analyzing things, and that's why I feel comfortable doing what we're doing and trying to share that information. Because it's just an extension of what we do in the water.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just we're not fishing right now. We're talking to you guys.
Right.
And we can pretend we're fishing.
Yep. Oh, it makes... Hang on, let me get my hooks up.
Hey, stuck.
Gonna go all the way forward and all the way back.
I've worked on my hook set this year.
You have.
I've come a long way.
Yep, and I've worked on mine going back the other direction. You saw some of my hook sets with that braid. Lean into it.
Yeah, I'm just like, fuck it. Crank that shit down.
Getting better at feathering it. Although, except for that one, I absolutely yeeted at Candlewood.
Yeah.
Is that you, me, and Derek?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Straight 10-pound braid and 10-pound fluoro. Snap! Why did I do that? That was stupid. That was fucking stupid.
I almost hit Derek with a rod. Owner of Beast Coast. Sitting behind me, I almost hit him with a rod.
Was that when you hooked into the stump? Yep. That. Dude, he was laughing so hard.
Yep. That was it wasn't moving.
No, it
Piece
wasn't.
of it came up, though.
He was just sitting there like, and he's just still double over laughing.
That was pretty good. I thought it was a fish, dude. I got so excited.
Yeah, you know what? Set it and forget it. That's what I said to John when he caught his first fish at the subsequent trip there. What?
Who's on what?
When John and I went back to Candlewood the
Yes.
weekend after you guys went. His first fish, he's like, oh, I was like, fucking set it and forget it, bud. He's like, yeah, John had a magnificent hook set.
Oh.
Fantastic.
Is that the PB?
No, the PB one was at the end. And that one wasn't even a good hook set. Because, like, he cast out his swim bait, and it was sitting there, and then he went and he was wrapping up his other rods, because right before that I said, all right, 3 o'clock, time to go, because that was like what I want to be quitting time. I don't know, dude, he had to have been let that sink for like 3 minutes, and he goes to pick up his rod, and he just picks it up, and the thing's just like, like, just from him picking it up, he's like,
He's the only person I've ever known to catch a PB and break their ankle at the same time.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so pissed I had to cut that all out because the audio was so bad. Like, both of us had problems all day.
Fuck.
No, it wasn't even that. It was so I would lavalier mic to a separate, like, wireless, like, digital audio recorder. And I take that audio track and I sync it to all the GoPros. But the downside of that is because it's got a 90-degree head where the 3.5mm jack goes in. It's constantly like swiveling and bending and stuff. Sometimes the mic cuts out or it gets like wicked staticky, and that's what happened to both of us. I ended up having a ton of my own audio I couldn't use. There's like 3 minutes of the video I had to cut out that was like, you know, typically stuff I leave in where I'm talking, I'm elaborating on what we're doing and things, and I had to scrap it all because I couldn't hear anything. And same thing with the majority of John when he, like, basically broke his ankle in the back of the boat when he had his 4.
Jesus Christ.
Right, okay. Let's talk your PB and jigs before we do that. I want to save the final wrap-up for the final wrap-up. And it's, holy crap, 10-minute clock. So,
I gotta work in the morning.
Circle back to the beginning. We were talking about jerkbaits and jigs. Specifically, jigs as being one of our go-to confidence baits in the spring. Someone asked, what were you doing and what were you throwing when you caught your PB?
I was throwing, I'm pretty sure it was a 1/2 ounce.
Guy. I'm not even joking. I think that's it. I think that's literally it. It was that color combo. I remember you had a green trailer.
I still have the trailer. No, I got a black and blue trailer.
Was it?
It was black and
I
blue
thought
trailer.
it was green.
But it's the exact same trailer.
Yep.
This trailer, but black and blue.
I forgot that I cleaned that out of the boat and it's been sitting there for I don't even know how long. Over on that shelf. Yeah, that's yours.
Why the hell do I have a green trailer on there?
I don't remember. Well, because there is a point in the year where the crawfish are molting and we'll throw
I just don't remember.
combination of colors like that.
But I'm pretty sure this is the same jig.
I think it is. It's a Gordy.
Yeah, it was a Gordy. It's not 1/2 ounce.
That's probably 3/8.
3/8-ish, somewhere. It's like right around 3/8. But this is the big presentation. This is the one. And I cast out. He had caught a fish. No, I cast out and I was just sitting there. I was just sitting and waiting. In the video, if you watch the video, it's from a few years ago. You just see me sitting there. And I kind of like turn around at him and like I'm just sitting there, whatever. And I turn back around and he catches a fish. And I miss it.
Yep. I was going to say, I was curious if you remembered the miss.
Yeah, I missed it. Because I remember feeling it started to get heavy and like a little thump. So I set the hook and I missed it. And I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. I didn't move it again. And I waited. I saw him catch a fish.
It was like a 1.5 pound largemouth.
Yeah. And then I felt, I was sitting there waiting, tension on it because I think it was like against a rock or a log or something.
Rock, because we were fishing the edge of that rock pile.
Rock pile, yeah.
Steep bank rock pile.
Steep bank rock pile. Yep. And
where have you heard that? 1,000 times before.
I still had tension on it, and then all of a sudden it was just like, dunk, and I leaned into that freaking thing.
Yeah, you did, and your rod didn't move after.
No, it didn't. It looked like I was stuck on something, but I wasn't stuck on anything but a fish.
Yep.
And that thing was freaking giant.
Dude.
But I wasn't moving it. I was literally just the same thing. Wait. And then
soak it.
Let it soak.
That was the day that we went out Friday. Snow blowed the boat launch because there was still like at least a 1/2 foot of snow covering everything.
Oh yeah.
But we went up. It was either Thursday or Friday. It may have been Friday.
It was a Friday, and then no.
I think it was Thursday actually because it was supposed to be like nice-ish, at least above freezing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm pretty sure it's what it was.
It was Thursday, and we went out Saturday.
No, we went out Sunday.
Was it Sunday?
Yep.
Okay, whatever.
We
snowblowed the launch.
And we gave it plenty of time because we knew it was going to warm up above freezing, and the launch is not in like a super sunny spot, so I had to make sure that like just the ambient air temperature was enough to melt out like any ice left over from what my snowblower couldn't scrape. But I came over, we loaded my snowblower up, we drove down there, snowblowed it, came back Sunday, everything's still covered in snow. Dude, you caught that like an hour into the day?
I think so.
That was great.
I didn't know what to do. I was shaking so bad, like I was freaking out. My kneecaps were like, like I couldn't hold I could barely hold the fish. I was sitting there shaking. Oh my god, I'm like shaking thinking about it.
So I felt when I caught mine this year finally.
I fucking wish I was there for that.
I almost passed out and stopped breathing. I was like,
yeah, all the blood went somewhere else.
Yep. Hang on there, buddy. Can you send some blood back up here? I need to focus.
Squeeze it.
Oh, Jesus
like
Christ.
like a Go-Gurt. Fucking right back up to the head.
That's a visualization I did not need.
Sorry. Day in the life. You guys should hang out with me sometime. We'll just start at like 6 a.m. We'll go till freaking 6 p.m. 12 hours with me. See?
Oh, thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bobby. Do you like Bobby?
Bobby.
Bobby.
Bobby. I'm going to go up and watch that before I go to bed. Bob's Burgers. It's good stuff.
I want to eat a burger.
I'm stuffed. We had pizza and cake for my youngest son's 4th birthday was today.
I had steak tips 2 hours ago, and I'm freaking starving.
It's because you're tapeworm. All right. We're, so that's that. Was there anything else you wanted us to cover before we do the final recap of baits in order of, like, you should absolutely have and, like, you know, down towards, take it or leave it?
Or just general questions.
Yeah. And if there's anything specific or general, you know what? We'll do the recap and then we'll throw your questions in there. We'll address them after the recap. Okay, so pick up your one. I'll get my one. Happy birthday, Jake. Thank you, Jake. All right. That's absolutely no. That's my one. Spider Jig.
My one.
What? I thought for sure you were still going to say the jerkbait.
You can never get rid of the jig.
Yeah, damn right. Number 1, jig. Football jig, spider jig, skirter jig, doesn't matter. Although I would, if I had to pick one over the other, specifically for ice out bass fishing, number 1 is spider jig. Twin-tailed hula grub. Number 2 behind that.
Yep, jerkbait.
Jerkbait.
Jerking a bait.
Blue Vision 110 is going to be my number 1 choice both for color and jerkbait. Period. That's it. If I had to buy one jerkbait for the rest of my life, that's it. I fish more stain water than I do clear water anyway, especially if I'm fishing around home. So this is it. This is the one I would fish for the rest of my life. That's the only one jerkbait I could have, but specifically ice out fishing. Blue jerkbait, 4 to 6 feet. Hard to beat.
Yeah, blue is pretty much money.
Yep. My number 3, which is tied for number 1 across the board, red lipless crankbait.
I still think mine...
What's it going to be? He's going to go jerkbait. I mean, square bill.
I think I will go square bill.
Square bill?
Yeah, I think square bill.
There you go. Let you borrow one.
Square bill. In the red or the bluegill, common sunfish, whatever color.
Yep.
That's just my preference, but the red is money.
If I'm gonna have to pick another one beyond that, I just especially the last 2 years we've gone, little baby swim bait on a light jig head. That's gonna be my number 4.
You know what I actually did get chased on that day when we went down to the Cape?
Glide bait. That should be up on my list, but I still have yet to catch a single fish on a glide bait.
I've caught one.
And I've tried. I've really, really, really tried.
It's stuck on my other jerkbait. Oh, that's a ripstop.
Oh yeah, it's the big boy ripstop.
Glide bait.
River to Seas.
I have caught one. I don't even know what.
S-Waver.
S-Waver.
Yep.
I've caught one fish on this. One. I hooked 2 more.
Yeah.
One with Keith, SNH Angler. He's on the chat. The only fish I caught on this was about the same size as the lure, so it was a rough day.
I'm feeling better about it this year, though.
Yeah.
Because now that I've gotten a chance to talk to a few people, and I'm going to bring somebody on to talk about those. That is one specific episode that's coming up.
Cool.
Is big swim baits and glide baits and wake baits.
I lost an eye.
I've got a couple of ideas. Easy. Okay, so spider jig, jerkbait, lipless crankbait, baby swim bait, finesse swim bait for me. You had jig, jerkbait,
Jig,
square bill,
jerkbait, square bill, jig.
and then
What else? I don't really know if I throw anything else in the spring.
No, for like immediate ice out.
Immediate ice out, jerkbait.
Those are it. I mean that
jig and jerkbait. That's it. That's all I throw really.
Those are my top 4 for like I am not going out without those tied on. I'm having the hardest time. Sorry.
Are you okay?
I should have drank more water than anything.
Water's good.
I'm sure that's gonna help. Yeah, ice out bass fishing. I'm not going out the boat unless those are tied on. Bare minimum. If I'm gonna expand on that, I might just tie on different variations. Jesus Christ, I'm dying.
Don't die me. I need somebody to drive the boat.
I'm not going out without those tied on. And then honorable mentions, I'm gonna try and throw this in colder water. The bladed jig, chatterbait, jackhammer, whatever. It's all the same in the end. I'm gonna have that tied on. I'm gonna try and tie on either just a regular hair jig or the Beast Coast Hustler. I'll have a square bill tied on when we get a couple weeks past ice out. But man, like if I had to boil it down to 1, I'm going jig. If I have 2, it's going to be jig and a jerkbait. That covers everything that you could possibly need to do to catch fish for ice out bass fishing.
Yep.
Everything else after that just makes your life easier for helping to try and narrow it down.
Yep. And it all changes with the weather too. So.
Which is why I have 14 rod combos. To cover every possible scenario.
I still only bring out like 3. I'm going to do fine.
You had more.
Yeah, I had a
I'm
lot
sorry.
more. I had a lot more.
What happened to that St. Croix drop shot rod? Did I sell that one to you or was that to somebody else?
I have no idea.
I don't remember. I thought that was to you.
I had a St. Croix drop shot rod. What the hell happened to that thing?
Is that another one that broke or went overboard?
That one broke. The Daiwa went overboard.
I think those are the only 2.
I had another one go overboard, but I saved it. And you had one go overboard at the St. Lawrence and saved it.
Fun time. Well, alright, there was no questions. That's it. Let me reiterate one more time. Spider jig, jerkbait. Not going out without them. Beyond that, red lipless, baby swim bait. Anything else after that is just fluff. You can make it work. Jerkbaits will depend on where I'm going. Regular 110, 110 plus 2, that kind of covers everything you need to do. Jason, I'm not answering that question. How dare you? Ban him. No. John, delete the chat. Both. 1A, 1B. Well, hang on. Which way do John really did.
Thank you. Jason. Yes.
Yes, Jason. Yes.
Jason. Yes.
I would say the first one is 1B now, and the other one is absolutely 1A.
Yep.
But you probably know that.
That's yeah.
We're gonna talk ice fishing.
Do I have the power? Ice
I
fishing?
don't want to talk ice fishing.
I've gone a few times already, but the
salty.
first time I actually put a tip up in was the other day, and I put 4 in the other day, and I put 1 in
The day before that.
And then the time before that, I just went jigging and just caught a couple panfish, some crappie, and I'm just not really into it for the bass this year for ice fishing. This is completely new to me. I used to trout fish before I started bass fishing when I was young. And I was pretty good at it. And then I started fishing with him, and he was like, bass. I'm like, fuck yeah. But I have never pulled a trout through the ice. And that is my goal this year, is to go do more trout fishing through the ice. And I'm going Saturday for rainbows. And I'm hoping to get on them. I know they're going to be shallow, and I'm just going to try and jig and set one trap up and hope for the best. Don't know if I'm going to film it all, but
I think you should, because I'm not going to be able to go out.
Okay.
And I'll just send you out the mic and the GoPros. And then if you have a good day, that'll give you something that you can edit.
Yeah, true. All right.
And that'll be mint.
Good
Get
idea.
more content on this channel. Because I myself am not going to be able to get out this weekend, I don't think. Definitely not on Saturday. Because I'm going to go to talk with Steve, the owner of Bass Fishing Electronics, about making videos for him. So I'm going to shoot over to his house and talk to him.
We can cover that with John's rod segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, for me with ice fishing and then we'll wrap this up after this. I'm salty.
I'm hungry. What? Sorry.
No, I got skunked the last 2 times we went out, and everybody struggles. It wasn't just me, but like I have been ice fishing like 15 to 20 times now total, and I think I've only had 4 good days.
That's how it is, though.
In the last 3 years. Fuck that! I'd rather sleep, and I need it. I really need it. So
I'll bring you out to my secret place, and then you'll change your mind.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having another good day. It's been a while, but we're trying, dude. I went out twice. I went out Saturday and Sunday this past weekend. Nothing.
Fuck Bob.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. Fishing boat wants to know if you need company. Yeah, dude. I want that the worst way, Keith. Just a bunch of crappie. So I want to make fish tacos. Sounds yummy. Talked about food. Time for you to go to McDonald's.
Did you hear my stomach?
No.
I felt it.
Alright. Alright, we're done. It's already 10:15. And we got to work early tomorrow. I have to be up extra early. Because I got to get up early, get out of work early, even though I'm working from home, and shoot up to Concord to drop off my fishing guide license application.
Tomorrow Friday?
Yes, it is.
Oh, thank Jesus. I'm sick of working.
Long day ahead of me tomorrow. But hopefully it'll be a good one. So, thank you all for watching. Seriously, cannot thank you enough for chiming in. I was trying to keep an eye straight back there behind the camera on how the chat did throughout the whole night. We actually had a pretty good turnout again. A little bit lower for peak and average views, I should say average viewers during the time. It was actually still really good throughout the whole thing. For the second week of a brand new podcast for a very small channel, it's been awesome. You guys have been awesome, and I friggin' love this.
This is fun.
Wicked fun.
It's different.
It is.
Which
It
makes
allows
it
us
fun.
to talk to a different level that we haven't been able to do in other things. So it was good. I want to hear suggestions for episode ideas, please. I've already got the next 3 more episodes after this planned out, and I have a tentative 4th and 5th planned. Those are very dependent upon who I can get for guests, because they're topics that are things I really want to discuss, but I want an expert involved in these areas. Some has to do with fish electronics, some has to do with bigger baits, swim bait stuff. So depending on what I can get for guests and when, and I have to figure out the whole logistics behind the technology to make sure I get it functioning so I don't have the technical difficulties I did today. We'll get there. But at the very least, the next 3 episodes are already planned. So we're good on that, but I want to hear it. I don't care where you send it, either whether it be in the comments here, the comments in the video after it's uploaded. Hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I don't care where you send it. If you've got an idea and you want us to tackle it, let us know, please. You can even send them to him, too. And he'll eventually pass them along to me when I remind him, hey, anybody send anything to you?
Yeah, because I get 1,000 texts a day. I'm just like, I don't give a shit.
John and I have been saying that. John's like, is he dead? I'm like, nah, he's probably just turned his phone off at this point. Too many group chats.
Oh, yeah. I have 4 of them going on. I don't read any of them.
So,
sorry, guys. I will answer you, though, if it's somebody new.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Jerk. It's going to wrap it up. Thank you all for watching. Again, greatly appreciate everybody that came out to hang out. It was fun. Glad we were able to answer all your questions. And we will catch you guys again next Thursday, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right back here on 603 Bass.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next week. You can all stare awkwardly at Andrew because I have to go over there to shut the stream off. I can't do it from here. Not yet. I need more toys. Hey, if you want to donate to the stream, you can totally do that. You can help us buy new toys.
Oh, yeah, you can help.
Or you look at my weird mustache.
Should help. Hey, maybe we'll do a giveaway.
Giveaway?
Maybe we should do a giveaway.
Oh, wait. No, it's too late. Everybody's gone anyway. I have hats. I'm going to give away a hat.
Oh, yeah, hats. I need a hat.
You need another hat?
Look at this thing.
Oh, you need
I've been wearing it for 1.5 years now. Jesus.
We got free stuff coming. Don't worry. We're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, we gained joy. We gained people. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Have a good night, guys.